Police Department on December 1 of 2019.
Yes.
In what capacity?
I was dispatching that evening.
Okay. So let's start first by acclimating ourselves to days of the week. Was December 1st of 2019, was that a Saturday?
I started at 11 p.m. Saturday night.
Okay. And did your shift go over into the early morning hours of Sunday? I'm sorry. Do I have the dates right? 12/1. Right. So I'm sorry. What time did you start working?
11 p.m.
And what was the date that you started to work? Would it have been November the 30th?
Yes.
Okay. So that was Saturday, November the 30th.
Correct.
Okay. At 11 p.m.
Yes.
And that your shift goes over through the midnight hours and it becomes Sunday now, December 1.
Correct.
And were you working the Ansonia 911 dispatch center during your shift?
Yes.
Were you working with anyone else besides yourself?
Myself.
Does on occasion, will other members of the Ansonia Police Department during the course of a shift come into the dispatch center?
Yes, they do.
So it's not unusual for somebody else to be in there with you.
Yes, they can come in.
So I want to call your attention to now Sunday morning, so approximately 3 hours into your shift, just before 2 a.m. in the morning. Do you recall getting a 911 call?
Yes.
Now let's stop there for a second and explain to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury when a police department, are they called like a PSAP center? When a police department receives a 911 phone call, what does that do on your end of the call?
It's a different type of ring than the landline.
Okay.
And it's a different system, different phone.
All right. Is there any computers attached to it?
Yes.
And do you receive any information with regard to anything pertaining to the call?
Yes. You can see a phone number. You can see a location of where the phone is, depending on what type of phone it is. If it's a landline, it will come back to the address. Sometimes cellular phones will come in an area of it, or it comes back to a cell tower.
Okay. Now, with regard to this particular 911 call that you received shortly before 2 a.m. on December the 1st, did it show up as a landline call?
No, it did not.
Did it show up as a cellular call?
Yes.
Did it come back and give you a precise location of where the phone was originating from?
It came back to a cell tower.
Okay. And do you recall where the cell tower was?
South Cliff Street in Ansonia.
All right. And when you, did you answer the 911 phone call?
Yes, I did.
And when you answered the 911 phone call, can you just generally describe in your own words the course of what you heard?
I answered by saying Ansonia 911. There was a male voice on the other line that stated 3 different times Myrtle Ave. During that time, I tried to obtain an address or location on Myrtle Ave by asking, what's the house number? What is your location on Myrtle Ave? I also, during that phone call, after that, the male voice kind of stopped, and then I heard a female voice in the background that stated something as, hang up, stop, who are you talking to? And then after that, I continued to say hello a few times, but I also listened in the background to hear the male and female talking quietly in the background, and I listened to that for a period of time before the phone call was disconnected on the other end.
Do you know what the total length of the phone call was?
1 minute and 14 seconds.
During the time that you were listening, after the initial male voice where you could hear the male and female just quietly talking in the background, did you hear anything else occurring?
No.
Did you hear any signs of screaming or yelling?
No.
Did you hear any signs of fighting or anything breaking?
No.
Did you hear any voices screaming, "Hey, get out of my house," or anything along those lines?
No.
Did you hear anything that sounded like physical violence in any way?
No.
Are you aware, first of all, going back for a second, the male voice that said, I think you said Myrtle Ave 3 times, did you make any observations with regard to the voice?
The male's voice was slurred a little.
All
Yes.
right. And would you have any basis in knowledge of to why that voice is slurring?
There's many different reasons that it could be slurring.
Can you just give us a few of them?
It could be a medical issue such as a stroke, diabetes. It could be the person just woke up and is groggy. It could be a speech impairment. It could be intoxication. There's many different reasons.
So are you sitting there and assessing the quality of the person's voice, or are you trying to ascertain what assistance they need?
I'm trying to obtain what assistance they need.
Now, with regard to these 911 calls, does the city of Ansonia record these calls when they come into the dispatch center?
Yes, they do.
Prior to coming into court today, did you have an opportunity to listen to any 911 calls?
Yes, I did.
And did you listen to the 911 call, which is the subject of what we're discussing here now?
Yes, I did.
And when you listened to it, did it sound to be a fair and accurate representation of the 911 call which you remembered participating in on December 1 of 2019?
Yes.
And I'll offer this at this point, Your Honor.
Okay, Attorney Gavin.
Are you aware whether the Ansonia Police Department sent this disc out to enhance the audio quality of the call?
Yes.
And is this the enhanced copy that you listened to?
I believe so.
Your Honor, I've listened to the disc. I have no objection to the introduction of the enhanced 911 call.
Okay, so do we have a stipulation that it's an enhanced version, counsel?
Yes.
All right, and what is the exhibit number?
It's Exhibit 162, Your Honor.
All right, so court will accept into evidence as full 162. Thank you.
So just play the first one. Yeah, we'll go through. When the call ended, did you terminate the call?
No.
did the call that called you, were they the parties that terminated the call?
Yes.
Now, with regard to when you received that call, can you tell me what steps, if any, you took after receiving that phone call?
I tried to call the number back.
Okay. And how is it that you were able to call the number back?
It's on the caller ID on the 911 line.
So the number that was calling you was being displayed on the screen?
Yes,
Okay. And did you call that number back?
I did.
And again, is that something, did you listen to a series of further calls from you this morning? Did you hear that prior to coming into court today?
Yes, I did.
And are they all fair and accurate representations?
Yes, they are.
So would it be fair to say that you made a call at 1:54 and 3 seconds would be your first attempt to call back?
Yes.
Can you play that for me, please?
Showing tower, it's a South Cliff Tower. Almost a number. Yeah, I felt like that, yeah.
So, in that clip, Officer Trosser, first of all, we heard a set of dialing. There was 2 rings. Then the call terminated, and the second dialing in that clip. Can you explain that for us, please?
The first one, I believe I dialed the wrong number, so I hung it up, and then I called the correct number back.
So at 1:54 in the morning, you called somebody else's phone totally unconnected to this?
Possibly.
And when you realized that, did you terminate the call and call back the number that you had on your screen?
Yes.
And is that the complete dialing that we heard go to voicemail?
Yes.
Now, after making that first attempt, did you make any additional attempts?
Yes.
When did you make an additional attempt?
I believe a minute after the first call.
So at 1:55 and 58 seconds, did you initiate another attempt to call back the 911 caller?
Yes.
Can you play that for me, please? Did you terminate that call at that point?
Yes.
Okay. So now after reaching the voicemail for the second time, you terminated the call?
Yes.
Now, after that second call was made, did you take any additional steps?
Yes.
What did you do?
I dispatched Officer Clifford to Myrtle Ave to check the area.
And when you say dispatch, tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, what are you talking about when you dispatch an officer?
I radio over the air to the officer by usually their badge number, and I give them the information that I had, which was I had a male that stayed at Myrtle Ave, and that it was a 911 hang-up, and if he could check the area.
Okay. Is that standard procedure for 911 hang-up calls?
Yes.
And showing you what's been marked as States 163 is a full exhibit, I believe.
Yeah, no objection.
163 is a full exhibit. Can you tell me, Officer Trosser, whether you recognize generally what this document is? And you have a screen in front of you as well. If
It's not on.
is there a button, an on button there?
All right. While you're doing that, Counsel, Attorney Gavin, you had no objection to 162. I just have to accept those exhibits into the record, on the record.
No objection, Your Honor.
Okay, very good.
Thank
So
you.
court will go ahead and accept 162 and 163 as full exhibits. Thank you.
The disc is 162. The DVD disc is 162. Disc is 162. Is your monitor on now?
Yes.
Okay. So do you generally recognize what this is?
Yes.
What do you recognize it to be?
They're called CAD cards. We punch a card for every call that we receive.
All right, and so, first of all, can you tell, does this appear to be the call which you have been testifying about?
Yes.
And it says location, I see Myrtle Ave. What do the 5 zeros mean?
It just means the street.
Okay. Well, if you had a house number, would there be a house number there?
Yes.
So why then the 5 zeros?
Because I didn't have a house number.
So all you had was a street named Myrtle Ave?
Yes.
And other than that, it's showing that it was December 1st of 2019. And we have some information down here at the bottom. Is this what the radio car is receiving? Male caller stated Myrtle Ave before hanging up on the 911 line, and no answer on callback. Officer reports area check clear. Is that a summary of the event?
Yes.
So now I see a box here that says dispatch. Is that December 1 of 2019 at 1:59 a.m.?
Yes.
Now, you testified that the second 911 call, or the second attempt for you to make the call was at 1:55 and 58 seconds. So is it fair to say that within a minute or two after terminating that second call, you dispatched a car to the area?
Yes.
And after you dispatched the car to the area, did you take any further steps yourself?
Yes.
And what did you do?
I called back the number that called into 911 again.
So you're now making a third attempt at calling the number back?
Yes.
So now, does this appear to be you placing the call on December 1st of 2019 at 2:03 41 seconds.
Yes.
Please leave your message for
Who terminated that call?
I did.
Because you reached voicemail once again?
Yes.
I'm showing you what has previously been marked as States 161 as a full exhibit. This is a report prepared by an FBI agent that is a full exhibit in this case. Can you tell me, do you see with my yellow pointer here on the bottom of the call-out box on the right side of this exhibit, page 18 of this exhibit, the date December 1st of 2019?
Yes.
And just below it, there are a series of numbers, 203-735-1885. Do you recognize that telephone number?
Yes.
What telephone number do you recognize that to be?
The Ansonia Police Department.
So, does this record appear to correspond with, at 1:54 and 33 seconds, this phone seems to be receiving an incoming voice call from the Ansonia Police Department?
Yes.
And again, at 1:55:21, another incoming voice message received from the Ansonia Police Department.
Yes.
And again, at approximately 1:56, another incoming voice message being recorded from the Ansonia Police Department.
Yes.
Back on States 163, you indicated earlier that you dispatched a radio car at 1:59, and can you tell us what this next column, what this means?
Is that the officer en route to the call?
So the officer's acknowledgement that he has the assignment and is en route to the call?
Yes.
And can you tell me what the next column means?
When the officer arrived in the area.
So the officer acknowledged the call and arrived in the general area within the same minute.
Yes.
And what's this last column referred to?
It means that he cleared the call, that he's no longer on the call.
So it took him about 2 minutes to clear the call.
Yes.
Thank you, Officer Trosser. I have nothing further.
Okay, Attorney Gavin, any cross?
Good morning, Officer Tresser.
Good morning.
How you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Great. Thanks for being here. just tell me, what did you do this morning in review in preparation of your testimony?
I listened to the 911 call in the 3 times that I tried to call back.
Okay, so you listened to it, and did you review the call log report that we just saw?
Yes.
Okay, great. So you go to work on Saturday, November 30th, and you're working the 11 to 7 shift, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, great. So the first call, which was the 911 call that came in to you, looked like it was about 1:52 in the morning, is that correct?
Correct.
Right, and that call was 1 minute and 14 seconds.
Correct.
Okay, and do you know the phone number that that call came in from?
Not offhand.
Okay. As part of this investigation that continued, did you learn that that was Jose Morales' cell phone?
Later on, yes.
Okay, great. So at the time when somebody withdrawn, that evening at 1:52 a.m. when the call came in, were you able to determine that it was Mr. Morales' cell phone 203-809-2849 that made that call?
Not that night.
Okay, so when the call comes in, I just want to make sure I understand. I think you told us if it was a landline phone call that came in, you'd be able to track the number back. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right.
To the location.
To the location?
Yes,
Sure,
yes.
yeah, wherever the landline is. But if it's a cell phone, the only information that the dispatcher would have back at 911 would be a cell tower location
Yes, or sometimes it will come up in an area too.
in an area, right?
Yes.
It's not tied to a specific location like a landline.
Correct.
Okay, great. So you had the call at 1:52 a.m. and that do you have an enhanced 911 system with fire, ambulance, and police at Ansonia back in 2019?
I don't remember if we had what we had, if it's been changed, so I don't remember when
Sure.
it got changed.
Yeah, the 911 systems are always always changing as the technology improves, but that's okay. So your dispatch, and I just want to go through this slow with you. You get the 911 call, and there's a separate line from the Ansonia PD at 203-735-1885 versus 911. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, but the first call that is the exhibit that we listened to, that was a 911 call, correct?
Yes.
And that's automatically recorded, is it not?
Yes.
Sure, okay. And just so we get this out of the way, that call, you're aware that the call that came in was enhanced, the audio was enhanced so we could hear it better?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And I know you didn't do that. You're right, you didn't do that, but it made it clearer for us and the jury to be able to go ahead and hear the call.
Yes.
Okay, great. So the call comes in at 1:52 a.m., and we heard the 3 times Myrtle, 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 right?
Yes.
Okay, and I know that that was your voice, the female voice on the call, responding to Myrtle, Myrtle, saying what number, what number, what number.
Yes.
Okay, great. And then I thought I heard you say that you continued to listen on the call for about 1 minute and 14 seconds. Is that correct?
I was on the call for 1 minute and 14, yes.
Great. And while you were on the call, not your voice, but did you hear a female voice on the call at that time as well?
Yes.
Okay. And you told us, I think you said, that the male caller that had called, in your words, was the voice was slurred.
Yes.
Okay. Tell us what you mean by that.
It wasn't clear, I would say. It was slurred.
Okay. I would think, correct me if I'm wrong, but when you're assigned to dispatch on 911, you get all sorts of calls, correct?
Correct.
Right? You get people, there's an emergency and people are very excited, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And you may have my dog ran out the back door, calm, cool, and collective calls.
Yes.
Right? And then sometimes you have calls of people that can be under the influence of alcohol or drugs as well, correct?
Yes.
Right? That sort of happens every day on shift, correct? It's not unusual.
I couldn't say every day, but yes, it happens.
Yeah. Okay. That's something in your career. And I don't know how long you continue to dispatch, but that is not an unusual event, correct?
Sure, yes.
Sure, yeah, okay. So let's just go back to the call, just so we're clear. So the call comes in at 1:52, Myrtle, it speaks for itself. We're not going to go through the whole call. You want to know where on Myrtle you're calling from, is that fair?
Yes,
Okay, and you never got a response to the exact location on Myrtle Avenue from the caller, correct?
no, I did not.
Right, and you didn't know who was on the other end of the call?
No,
Okay, great. But you listened, continued to listen, and you heard a female voice on the call.
yes.
Okay, and what did you hear the female voice say?
She mumbled something as, it sounded like stop, hang up, and who are you talking to?
Stop, hang up, who are you talking to? Okay.
Yes.
And just so we're clear, the female voice is obviously different than the male voice that called and said 911 Myrtle, Myrtle, Myrtle.
Yes, different.
Right, two different people.
Yes,
Okay, and then, so that call was about 1 minute and 14 seconds, and then my understanding is the call was terminated by the caller, is that correct?
yes.
You didn't hang up on that?
No,
Okay, so now you have this call, you have two people, Myrtle, you don't know what it's about, but it's a 911 call, so it could be a emergent situation, correct?
it could be, but I can't assume.
Right, you wouldn't know because you didn't have enough information based on the call,
Yes,
but it was on the 911 line.
yes,
Yeah, okay, so then it looks like, and you correct me if I'm wrong, it looks like from the Ansonia PD number 203-735-1885, there were 3 calls back to the number that you had received on the 911 line, is that correct?
yes,
Okay, and it looks like the call came in at 1:52. I'm not going to go into the seconds, okay? But it looks like Ansonia PD called back at 1:54, 1:54, and 1:56. Is that consistent with your recollection?
I can't tell you exact time, I'm not sure right now. I
Okay.
mean,
But as you
there's a
said,
lot of times right now.
5 years ago, okay? I'm with you. But you, as you sit here, and I know you're prepared to testify today, you recall that there were 3 calls that came back from the Ansonia PD to the number that had originally called the 203-809-2849 number.
Yes,
Yeah, okay. And then after you had completed the 3rd call, is that when you would have had and dispatched Officer Mark Clifford to Myrtle Avenue?
I dispatched him after the first 2 calls.
Okay, so you get the call in, call hangs up, you call back twice, and just tell me in your own words, that's when you would have dispatched Officer Clifford?
Yes,
Okay, and he was out on patrol.
yes,
Okay, he's going to be here shortly, so it's okay. We'll ask him what he did. But 2 calls back, dispatch Clifford. Did you talk to him, Officer Clifford, when you dispatched him?
yes.
Okay, and just tell me how that works. How is it? Is it by the computer that you dispatch the patrol vehicle, or do you call him on his cell phone and dispatch him?
Usually it's over the radio, the air,
There you go, over the radio. So the dispatcher would say to an officer that's out on patrol, we got a call on Myrtle Avenue, could you go check it out?
yes,
Right? Okay, and you did that in basic terms in this case?
yes.
Okay, and then did you have a conversation with Officer Clifford when you dispatched him?
I provided him as a dispatcher, you provide the information you have to them
Over the radio?
over the radio, yes.
Yeah, okay, that's great. And then he went in, did whatever he did, we'll talk to him in a second. And then I think you said you called back the 3rd time, is that correct?
Yes,
Okay, and that was at 1:56, so it's call back, dispatch, call back,
correct.
correct? Okay, and then there was another call from the Morales cell phone, 203-809-2849 at 1:59 to 735-1885. Now, that's not the 911 line, that's the main line, okay? The Morales cell phone called back to the Ansonia PD. Did you take that call?
No,
Okay. And then it looks like what happened was then there was your 4th call back to the cell phone And that looks like at 2:03 in the morning, Ansonia calls back. Is that correct?
Yes.
Right. So we're just about done. I appreciate, so you get the dispatch, you get the call in on 911, you call back 1 time, 2 times, dispatch the officer, call back 3 times, and then there was a 4th call back to the cell phone number.
I remember 3.
Okay, all right. So as you sit here right now, are you aware of the fact that APD called back at 2:03:55 to the cell phone number?
I know at 2:03.
Okay, at 2:03?
Yes.
Okay, that's great. Thank you for your time. I appreciate your help. Thank you.
Officer Trosser, first of all, when Attorney Gavin was asking you about types of phone calls you receive, I think his scenario went something along the lines of some people can be excited when they call, some people, the dog ran out the back door, they can be calm, and then he asked you about some people can call, they're on drugs and alcohol. Do you remember that question?
Yes.
Obviously, suggesting to you that slurring on the phone call is a result of drugs and alcohol. Clearly, that was the reason for asking that question.
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
With regard to, do you have, when you hear a person slurring,
Your question was sustained, counsel. Start your question over.
Sure, I am.
Thank you.
when you hear somebody calling in on the line and you hear a voice that you said sounded slurred, do you have any basis to know what is causing, first of all, whether that's even a slur, if it's a natural speech pattern of somebody, do you have any basis of knowledge of knowing why you're hearing what you're hearing?
No.
Can drugs and alcohol create a slur for someone on the phone?
Yes.
Can a medical emergency, such as a person having a stroke or a diabetic emergency or an altered level of consciousness, cause a slur type communication?
Yes.
Have you received calls like those before?
Yes.
Did I hear you mention on the tape as well to whoever was in the dispatch center your impression that you felt that there was a language difficulty with this caller?
Yes.
Do you recall what you said on the tape?
Somewhere along the lines of, I don't think they speak English.
So did you, at least, is that reflective of your mind that you believe that there could be a language difficulty?
Excuse me.
Yes.
Hold on a moment.
I didn't hear anything on the tape about language difficulties. I'm not sure if he's referring to the exhibit in the 911 call.
I'm happy to cue it up.
Okay, so Attorney Gavin, I'm going to overrule your objection at this point in time because it deals with an exhibit that's full and it was acknowledged by the witness. So we'll play it again.
I appreciate that.
So would this comment come after the speaker stops speaking and when you are listening to what's occurring in the background?
Yes.
And do you speak with another officer?
Yes.
Did you hear your voice?
Yes.
Did you say, I don't think they speak English?
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I have nothing further.
Attorney Galvin?
Just one question. I did not hear that at the end of the call the first time, but I just heard it right now. So that was your voice in the dispatch center speaking to another officer, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, it wasn't, you weren't directing those comments to the people on the phone call, it was whoever your colleague was.
Yes.
Thank you. No other questions?
I have nothing further.
Thank you.
No other questions.
Thank you. You may step down. Thank you. Pay your attention to Madam Clerk. She's going to put you under oath, Madam Clerk.
Do you solemnly swear or solemnly and sincerely affirm, as the case may be, that the evidence you shall give concerning this case shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or upon penalty of perjury?
I do.
Please state your full name, spell your last name, and state your badge number for the record, please.
Mark Clifford. Last name is Clifford. Badge number is 53.
Okay, thank you.
You may be seated. Thank you.
Good morning, Officer Clifford.
Good morning.
Can you tell us, first of all, who are you employed by?
I'm employed by the Ansonia Police Department
How long have you been a member of the Ansonia Police Department?
since 2012.
And can you tell us a little bit about your background, your training, and your experience?
Yes, I graduated from the Police Academy in 2012. While on patrol, I was a field training officer where I trained other officers when they were hired. And since then, I have been promoted to the position of detective.
I want to call your attention to the time frame of December of 2019, where you were employed by the City of Ansonia Police Department in December of 2019.
I was.
I want to call your attention specifically to the shift that would have started on November 30th of 2019 into December 1st of 2019. Were you working that shift?
I was.
And what time would you have started on November 30th?
That would have been 11 p.m. at night.
And then, so is that considered third shift or overnight shift?
Correct.
And so would have this been a Saturday into a Sunday?
Yes.
Now, I want to call your attention to approximately 2 a.m. early Sunday morning, December the 1st of 2019. Were you working at that time?
Yes, I was.
And do you recall, what was your assignment that evening?
My assignment was the patrol east side sector.
Would that include the area in and around Myrtle Avenue in the city of Ansonia?
Yes, it would have.
And shortly before 2 a.m., do you recall where you were?
Yes,
And where were you?
I was on Main Street.
And where is Main Street in proximity to Myrtle Ave?
It is approximately, I'd say about a half mile west of Myrtle Avenue.
And when you received, did you receive a dispatch in and around 2 a.m.?
Yes, I did.
And what was the nature of the dispatch?
It was a 911 hang-up.
And what steps did you take once you received that dispatch?
Once I received that dispatch, I then proceeded to the area of Myrtle Avenue.
Can you pull forward to that mic a little bit?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Once I was dispatched, I proceeded to the area of Myrtle Avenue.
Did it take you very long to get there?
No, maybe a minute or so.
And when you got into the area of Myrtle Ave, can you just generally describe the overall nature, or let's say length of Myrtle Avenue?
It's approximately a half mile long.
No objection. Your Honor, I've seen Exhibit 164, I have no objection.
All right, court will accept into evidence as full states number 164. Thank you.
once again, on 164, which is up on the screen here, if I trace with this highlighter from the left side of the photograph down and along this roadway, working from left to right, is this Myrtle Avenue?
Yes, it is.
And is it fair to say that on the right side of the photograph, Myrtle Avenue is a dead end?
Yes, it is.
And then on the left side of Myrtle Ave, it dead ends into Judson Place.
Correct.
Now, when you arrived in the vicinity of Myrtle Ave, where was the first point that you picked up Myrtle Ave?
The first time I pulled onto it, it was at the intersection of Judson Place and Myrtle.
So now, going to the left side of the photograph, there is a red dot here. Do you know, would that be in the area of 6.5 Myrtle Street, what this red dot is depicting?
Yes, it appears to be.
Are you generally familiar with the roads in and around the east sector of your patrol assignment?
Yes, I am.
So again, where my highlighter is with the red dot in the left-hand portion of the exhibit, is this a section of Myrtle Avenue here?
Yes, it is.
Is this Judson Place here?
Yes.
Is this West Street here?
Yes.
And is this Cottage Avenue here?
Yes, it is.
So effectively, are you familiar with the location from your patrol assignment of 6.5 Myrtle?
Yes, I am.
So does it generally sit in this rectangular boundary, Judson, Myrtle, West, and Cottage?
Yes.
The driveway to 6.5 Myrtle, are you familiar with where that's located?
Yes, I am.
And where is it?
That is on the Cottage Avenue side, closest to West Street.
So back here, is this how someone would enter into the driveway of 6.5 Myrtle, where my highlighter is moving towards the red dot from Cottage Ave?
Yes.
So now, when you arrived, you said you started at Judson and Myrtle Avenue. So that would just be to the left of 6.5 Myrtle. Is that correct?
Yes.
And when you arrived there, can you tell us what you did?
Yes. When I arrived on scene, I already had my cruise lights activated, which are stationary red and blue lights that stay on. Once I got onto the street, I rolled my windows down. I activated my takedown lights and side alley lights, which illuminate the area much better.
Okay. So first of all, I need you to keep your voice up, okay?
Okay.
Really project out for us, all right?
Okay.
But if I'm understanding you, so when you got to the corner of Judson and Myrtle Avenue, first of all, are you in a marked Ansonia police car?
Yes, I am.
Does this marked Ansonia police car have a light bar on it?
Yes, it does.
You mentioned something called cruise lights. Can you tell us again, what are cruise lights?
They are red and blue lights that can be stationary, or if activated in emergency, they can glow, or they can
Flash.
flash. Correct. Yes.
All right. So are there times that police officers just on routine patrol keep their cruise lights on?
Yes, there are.
And why do you do that?
I do that because it makes you more visible to the public that you're a police vehicle.
So now, your red and blue cruise lights are on already as you arrive at the call.
Yes.
And now as you get onto Myrtle, you did what with your windows?
I rolled them down.
One window?
Both windows, in the front and passenger side.
Okay. So there are 4 windows in this car?
Yes,
All 4 came down?
just the front two.
The front 2 windows. And when you mentioned something also, takedown lights. Can you explain to the ladies and gentlemen what takedown lights are?
Yes, those are lights that we can activate if it's dark out, and it illuminates the area much better than headlights would.
So where are the takedown lights located?
The takedown lights are located facing the front of the vehicle.
Are they on the light bar?
Yes, they are.
Are there any takedown lights on the back side of the light bar?
I do not know.
Okay. You indicated something as well, something called alley lights or alley markers.
Correct, alley lights.
What are those?
Those are the same type of lights. They're located on the side of the vehicle, side of the light bar, and those illuminate the side, passenger and driver side of the police cruiser.
And again, are they used to assist law enforcement officers when they're out of the car to illuminate areas where they're working while it's dark?
Yes,
Would you say they're bright?
very bright.
So now, if I'm understanding you correctly, you've got red and blue lights on, you've got at least your car headlights are on, you've got your front takedown lights on, and you've got your alleyway marker lights on, all on the light bar in a marked Ansonia police car. Have I understood that correctly?
That is correct.
And you have your windows down.
Correct.
What do you do when you arrive at Judson and Myrtle?
I informed the dispatcher that I arrived on the scene.
And from there, what happened next?
I then proceeded to drive slowly down the street.
So now, as you're driving slowly down the street, you are almost immediately in the vicinity of 6.5 Myrtle.
Yes.
Would it be fair to say that you continued that slow crawl all the way down Myrtle Ave,
Yes, I do.
from one end to the other?
Yes.
So from one end to the other, you reached the opposite side?
Yes.
And when you reached the opposite side, what did you do?
I then turned around and proceeded back.
The very same methodology?
Yes.
Did you go all the way back to Judson Place?
Just about.
When you say just about, where did you go?
Instead of going all the way down to Judson, I made a left-hand turn onto West Street.
That's this street here.
Yes.
The 6.5 Myrtle Avenue sit on the corner of Myrtle and West Street.
Yes, it does.
So now, as you're turning on, which way? So you would have turned left on West Street.
Yes, that's correct.
When you turned left, would the back side of 6.5 Myrtle be visible to you while you're in your car?
Yes, it would have.
This is December of 2019. Would it be fair to say there were no leaves on the trees in December of 2019?
I did not see any leaves on the trees.
Did you have the ability with the takedown lights and your alleyway light lighting up the right side of the car to see into the driveway and backyard area of 6.5 Myrtle?
Yes, I could.
From the moment you arrived on the corner of Judson and Myrtle Avenue, all the way down, all the way back, took you about 2 minutes or so?
Yes, that's correct.
Showing you what has been previously marked as states 163. I think you said the street was about a half mile in total length.
Yes.
fair to say that dispatch shows you arriving on scene at 2:02 a.m. and clearing the call at 2:04 a.m.?
Yes.
Does that sound about right to you?
Yes.
During that whole trip from Judson, past 6.5, up to the end of Myrtle, back, left on West, visibility into the backside of 6.5, did you see any person out on the road that day?
No, I did not.
Did any cars pass you on Myrtle Avenue at 2 o'clock in the morning on that early Sunday morning?
No.
Did you see any activity at all?
No.
Did you hear anything at all?
No, I did not.
Did anybody come out and say, I need assistance?
No.
Your car was lit up like a Christmas tree, right?
Yes.
I have no further questions.
Attorney Gavin?
Hi, officer.
Hello.
Could you read me a map here, please? How are you?
Doing well, thank you.
Okay, just a few questions for you.
Yes.
Thanks. Who dispatched you?
That was Officer Tresser. She was working dispatch.
Did you just see her?
Yes.
Yeah, she just left.
Yes.
right? Okay, great. Officer, Your Honor, can I use the Elmo?
Yeah.
All right. Mr. Mestri? Your Honor, I'm going to use Exhibit 164.
I
This is
think-
the map.
Thank you.
Put that up there, Pete. Thank you. If you- We'll start over here. Okay. Third shift, you come to work on Saturday, the 30th at 11 o'clock, correct?
Yes.
You get in your patrol car and you're assigned a sector, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then you go out on patrol, correct?
Yes.
Right, you weren't a detective at that point, you were a patrol officer, is that fair?
Yes.
Okay, so you're out on patrol, the shift starts at 11 o'clock, and when was it that you were contacted by dispatch approximately?
That was approximately 2 a.m.
About 2 a.m., okay. And dispatch, did they indicate to you that they had received a 911 call from Myrtle Avenue?
They said that they received a 911 call
They received a 911 call.
and that the individual stated Myrtle Avenue.
Great, okay. And that was Officer Tresser that just left, told you that?
Over the radio, yes.
Yeah, over the radio. I know you weren't with her. Right, she was back at the police station, right?
Yes.
Okay, right, you're out on patrol. And you said you were in the area of Main Street in Ansonia at the time that you received the radio dispatch?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So, and you knew where Myrtle Avenue was, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, you had been there before, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So you traveled from Main Street over to Myrtle Avenue. And, Your Honor, can I just grab my copy of the map? Because,
Sure.
Peter, if you could just zoom in at the start there, please.
He's going to.
Okay. Thank you, sir. So, if I understand correctly, you would have went down Cottage Street. Is that correct? This is in the beginning. I just want to take you right from Main Street, not confuse anything. You went over to the area of Myrtle Avenue. Would you have come down Cottage Street, sir?
I believe I went where Cottage and so it would be a little further north of where this map is. So it'd be like Cottage and South Cliff.
let me fix that.
Okay.
Do you recall going on Judson Place?
Yes.
Okay, all right, that's fine.
Okay.
So you made the turn onto Judson Place, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and as you went up on Judson Place, then it intersected with the beginning of Myrtle Avenue, correct?
Yes.
And that's in the area where 6.5 Myrtle is that fair?
Yes.
Okay, and you indicated, I believe on direct, all right, Peter, can we just, yep, we have that zoomed in. So you went on Judson Place, and then you made the right-hand turn on Myrtle, and you passed 6.5 Myrtle, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and then the next intersection was West Street, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and then you would have continued on Myrtle, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and Myrtle, that's a residential area, is it not?
Yes.
Houses on both sides of the street, there's commercial establishments as well, correct?
Yes.
Right, you know, like Santini's Pizza is there, for example, correct?
Yeah, yes.
You're familiar with where that is, right? Okay, now, Peter, if you could just slide that along. So you went along, right there's good, okay? You went along Myrtle, and Myrtle has a bunch of intersections with neighboring streets, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and I think you told us that you traveled along, you would have passed what's marked as Santini's Pizza, correct?
Yes.
Okay, well, that's great, Pete, all the way down Myrtle, correct? Correct?
Yes.
Following Mr. Mestry's pen, yeah. And then Myrtle Avenue sort of turns up to the left.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Peter, doing fine. Just continue along on Myrtle, and then it looks like it intersects with Hunter's Lane.
Yes.
Yeah. And then it goes up the hill at that point, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and it goes all the way up into an area, and it eventually becomes a dirt road, does it not?
Yes, it does.
Okay, so how long approximately, I know you didn't have your stopwatch out, I get it. How long did it take approximately from the time that you turned on Judson Place on the beginning of Myrtle all the way up to where the dirt road is?
I would say that took probably about a minute and a half.
Yep, okay, that's fine. And you said you didn't see any traffic and you didn't see anyone that flagged you down at that point, correct?
Right.
Great, okay. And then did you turn around up where the dirt road is at the end of Myrtle Ave?
Yes, I did.
Sure, okay. And you didn't change anything with the lights or anything in the patrol car, correct?
No.
You just basically turned around and came back out of the wooded area, correct?
Yes.
All the way at the top, and you came back down the hill, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. All right, Peter, continue, please. And then you went back into the residential neighborhood, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And you continued down through the residential area. Let's stop right there, Pete, okay? And you hit the side streets like we see in the diagram here, Beaver Street and then Garden Street, right? You would have passed all of those?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And you weren't driving that fast, I take it?
No.
No, okay. And I assume because you were dispatched that you're looking around to see if there's anything called to your attention?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And then you pass Santini's Pizza Palace, and then you're heading back to the area of 6.5 Myrtle.
Yes.
And at the time that you were dispatched here on December 1st, 2019, 6.5 Myrtle didn't mean anything to you because it wasn't identified as a location of interest by dispatch.
That's correct.
It was just Myrtle Avenue.
Correct.
All of those houses and all of those businesses that are on Myrtle Avenue, that's what you were directed to go ahead and patrol.
Yes.
Great. So now you come back, and you hit the intersection of West Street, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and I think you told us you made the left on West, okay? And then you went down to Cottage, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So from the very beginning, when you turn, that's great, Pete, when you turn onto Judson Place and you made the right-hand turn on Myrtle, and 6.5 was right there. It's located on the grid marking, the designation there. And then you went past 6.5 to West and then all the way down. You were only in front of the area of 6.5 Myrtle for a matter of seconds, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And then when you came back, sir, you went all the way to the end, you did it, you turned around, you came back, you went on West Street. You never circled back and went in the area 6.5 Myrtle, the front of 6.5.
Correct.
Okay. And when you came down West Street and it hit Cottage, you didn't go up the driveway, the backside of 6.5 Myrtle, did you?
No, I did not.
And then, is that when you would have cleared the call with dispatch?
Yes.
Okay, and just tell us what cleared the call means.
That means I informed the dispatcher that I found nothing in the area and that I'm clear for the next call.
Right, okay, so did you go back to the Main Street area?
I believe so.
Yeah, that's a busier area than up in the residential area of Myrtle and Cottage and Judson.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Your Honor. Thanks for your time. I have no other questions.
Mr. Clifford, when you first arrived on Myrtle and Judson, you put down your windows, right?
Yes, I did.
Why did you do that?
Because I'd be able to hear if anything was, if anyone needed any assistance better.
When in a quiet residential neighborhood, when you're in your car, aside from your patrol radio, are there any other radios, music, anything else playing in there?
At the time, no, I did not have anything else playing.
And based on your experience of patrolling this neighborhood, others like it, at 2 o'clock in the morning, from within your patrol car with windows down in December, if you heard screaming or yelling, is that something you believe you would hear from within your patrol car?
Objection,
Yes.
Your Honor, calls for speculation.
Sustained.
It's based on his experience, Your Honor, and it goes to why he puts his windows down.
Whether or not he would hear screaming or yelling calls for speculation. You can ask him if he's had past experience, counsel, but in general, it calls for speculation. Sustained.
Have you, when you put your windows down in your car, you're doing so to enable what?
To hear better.
Okay. Have you been in your car in the past and with your windows down on a similar type of situation, have you been able to detect screaming, yelling, or other types of altercations occurring?
Objection, Your Honor, relevance.
Overruled.
Yes, I have.
Is that the basis for you putting your windows down?
Yes, it was.
Now, when you, I believe on direct, you said this total street length from up the hill, as Attorney Gavin says, and back down, I think your testimony was it's only a half mile,
Yes.
right? So that's a half mile one way and a half mile back. It's not a very great distance, is it?
No, it's not.
So when Attorney Gavin was asking you about all the side streets that you're passing, or does anything have to do with the amount of time it took you to go from one end, turn around, and come back to the other end?
Objection to the form of the question.
Overruled.
No.
And during that half mile one way and half mile back the other way, did you hear any screaming or disputes or yelling or anything that indicated there was a problem when you were on that call?
No, I did not.
The only
Overruled.
relevance is 6.5 Myrtle, which he was by for a couple of seconds.
Overruled.
When you made the left-hand turn on West Street, was it your testimony earlier that Myrtle, 6.5 Myrtle, sits on the corner of West and Judson? I'm sorry, West and Myrtle.
Yes.
And were you able to see into the back side of that property?
Yes.
Did you have your window open in the right side of your car?
Yes, I did.
So now, what would have been about 2 minutes by your dispatch ticket, you went by it, traveled up, came back, you cleared the call in 2 minutes. So you left it the first time and were in proximity to it the second time within 2 minutes. Did you hear any noise through your right window, anybody yelling, any sound like any kinds of break-ins, screaming, fighting, anything with regard to when you turned left from Myrtle onto West?
Objection to the form of the question. He's now testifying. It's been asked and answered, Your Honor.
Overruled. You can answer the question.
You need me to repeat the question.
Please.
When you made the left-hand turn from Myrtle onto West with 6.5 on your right side and your window down, did you hear any sounds of any fighting, yelling, screaming, break-ins, anything that would indicate that there is a problem coming from 6.5 Myrtle, which is just to your right side?
No, I did not.
I have nothing further.
Officer, if you had heard screaming, yelling, or commotion in the area of 6.5 Myrtle, you would have stopped the car, correct?
Yes,
And you didn't do that, correct?
that's correct.
Can you just look at the map? When you when you came back, right? You went to the end of Myrtle and you came back and you turned on West Street. You didn't pass the front of 6.5 Myrtle, right?
That's correct.
And you went down to Cottage.
Yes,
That just took a couple of seconds. Is that correct?
that's correct.
No other questions. Thank you, Your Honor.
I have nothing, Your Honor.
All right, you're all set. You may-
May I proceed, Your Honor?
Yes.
Good afternoon, Mr. Raleigh. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, thank you. Like to just start off and ask you, in December of 2019, did you have some type of a connection to Myrtle Avenue in the city of Ansonia?
Yes.
And what was that connection?
My aunt lives there.
And where does she live?
6 Myrtle Ave.
And had you been to 6 Myrtle Avenue at times prior to this?
Yes.
Are you familiar with a house next door with the number 6.5 Myrtle Avenue?
Yes.
Now, can you find me the exhibit number for the side of the side view of Myrtle Avenue of the house? It would be early on. Now, with regard to, I wanted to call your attention to December the 1st of 2019. It was a Sunday. Do you recall whether you were on Myrtle Avenue on that date?
Yes, I was.
And were you with anyone else?
I was with my wife.
And what was the reason for being on Myrtle Avenue on December 1st of 2019?
I was going to move a freezer for my aunt.
Okay. And that was your aunt at 6 Myrtle Avenue?
Yes.
And do you recall approximately what time you arrived in the area?
I believe it was around 2 o'clock.
And do you know approximately what time you left the area?
Around 2:30, 2:45.
Now, when you were leaving the area at around 2:45, can you tell me whether you, when you left Myrtle Ave, when you left 6 Myrtle Avenue, where was your car parked?
In her driveway.
Okay. And did you walk to your car?
Yes.
And when you walked to your car, did you make any observations?
Yes.
What observation did you make?
So when we left out the back of her house and you walk up her driveway, and as soon as you walk out the back, there's the red house next door, and there was a man standing in the corner.
Okay. And I'm sorry, where did you see him standing?
In the corner of the house by the garage.
Okay. And one second, Your Honor.
Sure.
It's an external picture. It's gonna be the first one. That's it. Showing you what has previously been introduced as State Exhibit 6. And not offering it to you for the snow or any of that, but generally, does this appear to be the building that you're referencing?
Yes.
And can you just, with using your words, tell me where you saw the individual standing?
Yeah, if looking at the picture, it's in the right-hand corner.
There's a door here, a window, and a door. Can you just,
To the right of the door.
which door?
The door on the right-hand side, not the, yep,
This door?
yep,
So somewhere over here?
yep,
The record reflects, Your Honor, at least in State's Exhibit 6, there is a door with a dark window towards the back part of the picture, and my highlighter is just showing to the right of that door.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rowley. And with regard to the observation that you made, can you tell us why your attention was called to that person standing there?
it was a very windy, cold day, and I think it was snowing or raining, and it was just odd that someone was standing there on his cell phone. It just didn't seem right.
Did you make any observations about the person's clothing?
I was just wearing a hoodie.
And at that time, is that the reason why you took notice of the person?
Yes.
Had you ever seen that person before?
No.
Did you, with regard to at least that moment in time, did you take any further action with regard to that individual?
No.
Did you climb in your car?
Yeah.
And what happened after that?
We went home.
All right. At some point in time, did you become aware of an incident that occurred on Myrtle Avenue the weekend that you had visited?
Yes.
And did you take any steps to contact the Ansonia Police Department?
Yeah.
What did you do?
I just called and told them what I saw.
Did they ask you to come to the Ansonia Police Department?
No, they actually came to me, I believe.
Okay. And when they came to you, did they ask you to do anything?
Yeah, they asked me to give a statement and then look at some photos.
Okay. Can you describe the process for us as the photos that you looked at?
Yeah, they just gave me individual photos one by one, and then once I went through them, I identified somebody and marked my photo.
Okay. As part of that process, no, just continue. 165 is full, Your Honor, with no objection from the defense.
No objection, please, Your Honor.
Thank you for making the record. Court accepts 165 and is full.
Showing you what has now been marked as States 165, Mr. Rowley. First of all, with regard to these documents, do you generally recognize, let's start with this page.
Yes.
And does this appear to be a document that was shown to you by the Ansonia Police Department?
Yes.
And does it state witness instructions regarding identification procedures?
Yep.
And that it occurred on December the 4th of 2019 at your home on Prindle Avenue?
Yes.
And did they ask you to read all of the instructions contained on this form before looking at the photographs?
Yes.
Then I think you indicated that you looked at each of the photographs. They gave them to you all at once or one at a time?
One at a time.
And after you went through the series of photographs the first time, did you go through it a second time or any additional time?
I'm not sure.
Okay. After going through and seeing all the photographs, did you tell them that you believed that you were able to identify one of the individuals?
Yes.
Showing you what has been, what is the third page, and I'm sorry, Your Honor, States 165 is a stapled 3-page document.
Thank you.
Showing you the third page of that document, is this the photograph that you stopped on?
Yes.
And what did you indicate to the Ansonia Police Department about this photo?
That's the man I saw standing in the corner of the garage.
Talking on the cell phone?
Yes.
And ultimately, did they ask you to place your name on this photograph?
Yes.
Do you see your signature there?
Yes.
And likewise, was it dated with this acknowledgement, with your acknowledgement that the photo contains the suspect?
Yes.
Did they then ask you, back on page 2 of this document, to sign this acknowledgement and statement with regard to the identification.
Yes.
The document says, I, Patrick Rowley, acknowledge the above instructions have been read to me by Detective Esposito, and I fully understand the instructions. I have viewed the photos and have identified number 7, and then under witness comments regarding identification, handwritten, saw man in photo on cell phone, stand in back right side, 90% sure on the photo. Is that what you told the police?
Yes.
Whose handwriting is that, do you know?
That's mine.
And did you subsequently then sign and print your name to this document?
Yes, I did.
Now, I realize it's 5.5 years since this time frame, Mr. Rowley, but as you look around the courtroom today, do you see the person that you saw on December the 1st of 2019 at approximately, I'm sorry, what time did you say it was approximately?
About 2:45, 2:30, 2:45.
Do you see that person presently here in the courtroom today?
Yes.
And would you please point to where you see them person seated and to physically describe what you see that person wearing?
Yep. Sitting over there, he's wearing a gray shirt, gray checkered shirt, gray and black.
May the record reflect that by pointing as well as by clothing description, he's identified the defendant, in this case was Morales.
The record shall so reflect. Thank you.
I have nothing further.
Can I have those, please? Yeah, both of them. Yeah, thanks. Mr. Rowley, how are you?
How you doing?
Let's put the picture up first. Your Honor, may I approach the witness and the OMO, please?
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Great. Thanks for being here. So it's about almost 5.5 years ago since you had interaction with Detective Esposito. Is that correct?
Yep.
All right. So I want to make sure I'm going through your testimony accurately, and you correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
On Sunday, December 1st, in the area of around 2 o'clock, you went over to Denise Hunt's house. Is
Yes.
that correct?
Yep.
And tell the jury who Denise Hunt is,
She's my aunt.
right? And she lives at 6 Myrtle Avenue.
Yes.
Correct? And you had been to your aunt's house previously, correct? Mm-hmm. And you were with, I think it was your girlfriend at that point.
Yes.
Kristen Stahl, correct?
Caitlin.
Caitlin, I'm
Yep,
sorry,
that's okay.
Caitlin. My bad. Caitlin, and now she's your bride.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. And you were there to move a freezer, is that what you told
Yep.
us?
Yep.
Okay. And you weren't really there that long, is that correct?
No.
No? Okay. Your aunt lives up on the 2nd floor, is that correct?
Yes.
Do you know who George O'Meara is?
Yes, I do.
Where does he live?
He lives on the 1st floor.
Okay, right? And 6 Myrtle and 6.5 Myrtle are adjoining properties, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, right. And so you got there at around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and forgive me, I know one of the photographs has snow. Was it snowing, raining, windy?
It was doing. I can't remember, but there was something. It was.
Okay.
That's why it made him stand out. Someone was standing outside in the back. It was
Okay.
very odd.
I don't want you, if you're not sure, just let me know whether it was snowing or raining, but you're not sure at
Yeah.
that point.
Yep.
Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay. And you said that I think you said that you were upstairs moving the freezer, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And how long did it take to go ahead and do that?
About 20 minutes, half hour.
Okay, great. And were you swapping out a freezer or?
No, it was on the. I believe it was in the garage, and we just moved it up to her. Upstairs.
You carried it?
Yeah, me and my cousin.
Oh, there was somebody else there. Who else was there?
I believe my cousin,
What's your cousin's name?
Jeffrey
Jeffrey what?
Hunt.
I'm sorry.
Hunt.
Hunt. Okay. Wouldn't have been nice for your aunt to have you just alone carry the freezer from the garage up to the
No,
2nd floor,
no.
right? Okay. And how old is Jeffrey Hunt?
He's deceased. He's deceased.
He's deceased.
Yes.
Okay. And 5 years ago, approximately how old?
I'm not sure.
Okay. I mean, was he a teenager or
No,
was he
30s.
in his 30s?
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. And I'm sorry. I apologize. You said he's deceased.
Yes.
Is that correct? Okay. So you're at your aunt's. You have your future bride with you. You have your cousin with you. You go to the garage and you move this freezer up to the 2nd floor, right?
Yep.
Okay. And that took a half hour or 45 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, great. And did you have to do anything else in the
No.
apartment that day?
No.
No, okay. Mr. Mestre, could you show us, I think it's marked as Exhibit 6, can you see that on the monitor right in
Yes.
front of you? Okay, great. So what we know, and I just want to be clear with you, that Exhibit 6, we're not claiming any of that snow was there, okay?
Yeah.
Because the following day it snowed. So you said that you entered or exited, excuse me, let me start over. I think you testified that you left 6 Myrtle through the back, is
Yes.
that correct?
Yes.
And then you came around on the driveway that would have went down to Myrtle Avenue.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
The driveway sits parallel from this picture. You can see the car, where the car is in this picture. That's our driveway.
Okay, good. That's the sort of end in the bottom right-hand quadrant of Exhibit 6 is a car that would have been located
Yeah,
in the
that's
driveway.
where my aunt's driveway is.
Okay, great. And is that where you parked?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, okay, all right, we're doing fine. So you came around the back of 6 Myrtle towards the driveway. You would have got in your car in the driveway to back down to Myrtle Avenue. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, I always back in when I park, so I just would have pulled out. But yeah.
Okay, all right. So you backed in originally, and then you would have
Yes.
pulled out.
Yep.
Okay. Now let me just go slow here. When the 3 of you left your aunt's house,
Just me and my wife left.
okay, and Jeffrey Hunt stayed with
Yeah,
your
he
aunt.
lived there.
He lived there with your
Yes.
aunt. Okay, gotcha. All right. So, but he came there with you,
No.
or was he there already?
Yeah, he lives there.
Okay, sorry, I don't know, I don't know this. So when you and your bride-to-be arrived, he was already on site? Because
Yes.
he lived there?
Yes.
With your aunt that
Yes.
lived upstairs on the 2nd floor?
Yes.
We're good?
Yes.
Okay, all right, great. So you and Caitlin went ahead and left after half hour, 45 minutes. Is that correct?
Yes.
Great. And you come down the driveway, and you looked over to the area 6.5 Myrtle. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, it's when you come out of her backyard, it's right there. You come out of the gate and you're looking straight and you see that back corner.
Okay, great. And are you familiar with that property at all?
Yes.
Okay, you know there's a 3-car garage
Yes.
underneath the apartment?
Yes.
Yeah. The monitor has to take it down, so just let me finish the question before you answer.
Okay.
I know you know the answer already. It's very difficult when we both speak at the same time.
Okay.
Thank you. And you're doing fine. Okay, so you leave, you're familiar with the property, you know there's a 3-car garage underneath 6.5 Myrtle Avenue, correct?
Yes.
All right. And then I think you told the Attorney Stein that on the side of the property, there is a door, then a window, then another door. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you saw an individual over by the second door closest to the garage at the back of the house. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay. And you told Attorney Stein, correct me if I'm wrong, you had never seen that individual before,
No.
right? How often back in 2019 did you visit your aunt's house?
I don't know. It depends. I do a lot of work at her house for her.
Okay. All right. So you were there on a regular basis?
I would say a regular basis is just if she needs something done, she calls me. I'm the go-to in the family.
Oh, okay. It's good to have a go-to.
That's right.
Right? Okay. So, I mean, would you see your aunt once a month, once a year?
Once a month, I would say is a good average.
Okay. Just an estimate, that's all.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you saw the individual at 6.5 Myrtle in the back, you told us you had never seen that individual before. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you didn't go down and approach and say, hey, hi, what are you doing here, or introduce
No.
yourself? There was no contact whatsoever between you and that individual.
No.
And what did you observe that individual doing?
He was on his cell phone.
Okay, all right. And then you got in the car.
Yep.
Okay, and Caitlin got in the car.
Yep.
So just tell us, when you came out the back of 6 Myrtle, you turned down the driveway, you looked over into the adjoining yard, you saw that person. How long did you look at them?
The time it takes you to, I opened the gate, held it for my wife, and then walked up the driveway. So 5-10 seconds.
Okay, and when you looked over across, did you just glance across for a second or two?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, it was quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, okay, and then you got in the car and didn't think anything of it?
No, I said to my wife, like, that was strange. Why was he standing there?
Okay, that somebody was there because you
Yeah.
didn't know who they were?
No.
You didn't know who the neighbors were?
Nope.
Okay, all right. And it didn't get to the point that you thought it was important, for example, to go confront the individual.
No.
Right? And, you certainly didn't go ahead and call the police and say, hey, there's something strange going on next door.
Nope.
No, you just went about your business.
Yep.
Checked off the moving the freezer chore,
Yep.
correct? Okay, okay. So you only saw the individual for a very brief period of time. Yeah?
Yep.
Correct? Okay, got in the car. Now, Peter, we're all done with that. Could you, Peter, could you put the next exhibit? That was Exhibit 6, Your Honor, for purposes of the record.
Thank you.
And Peter, what number is that?
165.
165, Your Honor. We're going to refer to Exhibit 165.
All right.
Okay, Peter, could you put the front page, the first page on there for me? Can you see that okay?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Now, it looks like you went ahead and you interacted with the Ansonia Police Department on the 4th. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And do you know who Detective Richard Esposito is, sir?
Yes.
Okay. Just tell us who's Richard Esposito.
It's the officer in the Ansonia Police Department.
Okay. All right. And that's who you had contact with. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So how was it that you came in contact with Officer Esposito? Did you reach out to the...
I called the Ansonia Police Department.
Okay. And what day, if you recall, did you call the Ansonia
I
Police?
believe it was on Monday.
On Monday?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure on that.
Okay. And this was on Wednesday, the 4th, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So it was a couple of days had gone by, and did the detective actually come out to your house?
Yes.
Okay. You didn't go to the Ansonia
No.
PD? Okay. And I take you were cooperative with the officer?
Yes.
Correct? Okay. And Your Honor, if I may just come over here for a second. Excuse me.
Certainly.
You were given a form, and it's entitled Witness Instructions Identification Procedure Form, correct?
Yes.
And sir, in the top third of it, there was an agency case number. See that?
Yep.
And then there was a date on the 4th,
Yep.
and a time, that's military time, correct?
Yes.
Okay? And the location is 28 Prindle Avenue, Ansonia, Connecticut.
Yes.
Is that where you resided at that time?
Yes.
Okay, all right. And whose handwriting is that, if you recall?
I don't recall.
Okay. And I take it you had never filled out one of these forms before?
No.
Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, I'm just going to turn the page. The second page of the exhibit. Now, did you fill this out, sir, or
Yeah.
did the officer fill it out?
No, that's my handwriting.
It's your handwriting?
Yes.
Okay. So, Your Honor, just for the record, second page, top portion of the exhibit, it says, I, Patrick Rowley, acknowledge that the above instructions have been read to me by Detective Esposito, correct?
Yes.
Right? And I'm sorry if I asked you this, I apologize. Had you ever met Detective Esposito prior to that,
No.
or since?
No.
No, okay, one time, right? And you told us that he had shown you a series of photographs, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and you picked out one of the photographs, I think you said number 7, is that correct?
Yes.
Do you recall what the other photographs were of?
No.
In the handwriting portion, it says witness comments regarding identification. Do you see that, sir?
Yes.
Okay, in your handwriting, saw a man in photo on cell phone, stand in back right side. Okay, was that referring to 6.5 Myrtle?
Yes.
Okay, and then you indicated 90% on the photo. Is that correct?
Yes.
Because you weren't 100% sure.
Yes.
You only saw the individual for a very short period of time, correct?
Yes.
Had never seen him before.
Nope.
Never seen him since,
Nope.
correct? Okay. So you were accurate with the police officer when you said to him, I can't say for 100% that that's the individual I saw.
Yep.
Thanks so much for your time. I have no other questions. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Any redirect?
Mr. Rowley, when you were looking at those photographs, that the officer gave you, could you say generally, were the photographs of people similarly featured?
Yes.
Meaning, the photograph that you picked out shows a man with a big beard, hair. For instance, were there people in this array of African American descent?
No.
Were there people? I guess the question is that were you shown similarly featured people when you were being asked to look at these photos?
Yes.
And despite now being shown these photos, of all the photos that they showed you, you stopped on number 7.
Yes.
And that's when you indicated 90% certain.
Yes.
And again, out of your own independent recollection, prior to coming into court, did you have an opportunity to review your paperwork that you provided to the police?
Yeah.
But as you sit here now, do you have an independent recollection of the man that you stated earlier? Is this the man you saw outside?
Yes.
I have nothing further.
No other questions. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or solemnly and sincerely affirm, as the case may be, that the evidence you shall give concerning this case shall be the truth?
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Still over here? Exhibit 6. Yeah, it's still over here.
Sure. What number is that? No objection. Your Honor, I've been showed what's been previously marked as Exhibit 166. I have no objection as a full exhibit.
All right, court will go ahead and accept into evidence as full Exhibit 166. No objection. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, Mr. Petrillo. First of all, I need you to kind of pull yourself forward. That mic does an awful job amplifying, so I really kind of need you to project into it so we can all hear you. All right? First of all, can you tell us, once again, what's your name?
Christopher Picarella.
And do you have a business?
Yes.
What is your business?
Valley Motorsports in Ansonia, Connecticut.
Okay. There you go. Just free internet publicity just went out for you. With regard to that, do you have any connection to 6.5 Myrtle Street in Ansonia, Connecticut?
Yes, my wife owns the property. My wife and I.
Okay. What's your wife's name?
Carrie Watson.
All right. And with regard to the property, can you generally just describe it for us?
So it's a 3-bay garage on the bottom floor, and it's on a 3-sided corner, and the apartment access is on the back side of the opposite side of the street from the driveway, and I'd say it's a half-acre lot, and you cannot access the apartment from the garage, and it's totally separate from each other.
Okay. So let's focus on 2 separate things. First of all, so 6.5 Myrtle, there is a garage you told us about. Is there a residential unit?
Yes, there's an apartment on top of the garage.
Okay. And are there tenants, or were there tenants in December of 2019 who were occupying that apartment?
Yes.
And do you know the name of the tenants?
Christine Holloway.
All right. And with regard to the property, the garage area below, did the tenant living in the residential unit have access to the garage area below?
No, he did not. No, they did not.
Who controlled the garage area below?
I used the garage area.
For what purposes?
It was my workshop, or it is my workshop.
And tell us a little bit about what's inside.
I have ATVs and side-by-sides and toolboxes, and it's my workshop for with Valley Motorsports, I'm into motorcycles, and I use it as my personal garage.
Okay. So I'm going to put up for you on the screen, States 10 is a full exhibit. Can you tell me, first of all, if you generally, when I get the right direction for you, do you generally recognize what this is?
Yes, that is the 3-bay garage, the 3 bays of the garage that I use, yes.
Okay, and immediately above, in the photograph, the center bay, there appears to be a brown dormer, or I'm sorry, a gray dormer with a window. What is that?
That is the bay window in the kitchen of the apartment.
Residential unit upstairs?
Yes, yes.
And the windows for this garage here, are you able to see through them and into the garage?
From the outside, not really, because it is tinted.
Okay. Showing you now what's been marked State 6 as a full exhibit. Can you tell me whether you recognize what this is?
That is the property. That is, lower level is the back hallway of the garage. You have one entry door on the back side, and 2 entry doors. The further entry door in this picture is the door that I would normally use.
So where my red pen is that the door that you're referring to?
Correct.
And the record can reflect, Your Honor, he's indicated it's the bottom right-hand corner, door closest to the bottom right-hand corner of the photograph.
Thank you.
And so that is a door, where does that doorway lead?
That doorway leads into the main garage.
Okay. And now I'm relocating my pen to the center of the photograph, bottom part of the photograph. There's a second door here to the front corner of the property. Where does that door lead?
That door leads to a hallway that is attached to the back to the garage. There, at one point in time, there were stairs to get into the apartment from that access point, but the stairs were removed prior to us purchasing the property.
And then there are 2 windows to the right of the door and to the left on the front facade of the brick foundation there. Where do those windows look into?
The said hallway where the stairs once were.
Okay. And are you able to see through those windows into that area?
No, I have them covered with curtains or blinds.
Also now, there are 2 more additional windows on the front side of the property now, moving to the far left-hand corner and to the center portion of the front wall. What do those windows look into?
The middle window would be into the hallway, and then the further window would be into the bathroom. There's a bathroom in the lower portion of in the garage.
Okay. So do I currently have the red pen positioned at the bathroom, the downstairs bathroom window?
Correct.
And using again the red pen, there is what appears to be a doorway here behind some wooden railings on the top portion. Are you able to identify what that is?
That would be the entry door to the apartment.
And now, this going back to the bathroom in the garage, is there anything directly above the bathroom in the garage in the residential units?
Yes, there would be the bathroom in the residential unit.
So, how many bathrooms in the residential unit?
1.
How many ways in and out of the residential unit?
1.
So this is the only way in and out?
Correct.
And that the only bathroom in the residential unit would be directly above the bathroom in the workshop area?
Correct.
I want to call your attention to the weekend immediately following Thanksgiving of 2019. Do you remember that weekend?
I do.
And why do you remember that weekend?
I was over in the garage working on. I was at the time I was still building the garage, and I was working on a wooden sign box, like for a large Honda dealer sign, and I was building the box to hang the sign on the wall.
And first of all, looking at you today, you have a very well coiffed beard on you as you sit in court today. Did you have that facial hair in 2019?
I had a mustache and maybe a little bit down here, not nearly what this was.
And would it be fair to say your hair is red or brown or ginger color?
Yes.
Was
Yes.
it the same color hair back in 2019?
Yes.
So now, with regard to that weekend, did there come a point in time where your mother joined you at the property that weekend?
Yes.
So, and do you recall which day that was?
That was on Sunday.
All right. And would that be December the 1st of 2019?
Correct.
All right. And talking to you, and you were there on Friday and you were there on Saturday as well?
Correct.
Was your mother with you there on Friday or Saturday?
Not that I know of, no.
Okay. Well,
No, she was not there.
all right. So the only day she was with you was on Sunday.
Correct.
So now, do you recall what time you arrived at the property on Sunday, December the 1st?
2 o'clock,
And do you recall what time you left?
6 o'clock.
And you're very certain as to your times.
Yes.
Are you able to tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury why you are very certain as to the times that you arrived and that you left?
I have GPS locations of my phone. I have screenshots of my phone from the GPS locations of while I was there.
At some point in time during the course of a subsequent police investigation that you participated in, did you otherwise refresh your recollection as to your times that you were there by looking at the screenshots that you had taken of your phone?
I did.
And is that how you are able to recall with specificity when you were there?
Correct.
So now, staying on the Sunday, December the 1st, you said you arrived at 2 o'clock, and what exactly was your purpose? What were you doing?
I was building the large frame for the Honda sign that I was trying to hang on the wall.
Okay. And when you say you're building, describe the process for us a little.
I was using power tools, drills. I was using a compound saw, cutting wood, cutting 2x6s, and yes,
And what was your mom doing when you're doing this?
assisting me holding the 2x6s, and while I would cut the wood, she would hold one end of the wood so it wouldn't fall, and yeah, she was assisting me with the process.
And at some point, let me show you what has been marked as states as 166. It's a full exhibit, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Up on the screen. Do you generally recognize what this is?
Those are the boxes and the Honda sign that I was referring to.
Okay. And I'm going to zoom in just a little bit tighter. All right. So first of all, can you just tell us about some of the things that we're seeing in this photograph? And there's a monitor there for you as well.
So there is my UTV side by side in the center. I have two pre-built sign boxes leaning up against the side of the UTV, and then in the foreground is the part of the Honda sign in the box on what I believe is a table. And then I got a table saw in the back right corner, and then some storage boxes in the left, and then the file cabinets in the left. And if you go around the back corner, there's a refrigerator and more file cabinets and the bathroom that I was referring to earlier.
And can you tell us again about the bathroom? Where exactly is the bathroom? Can you see it in this photograph at all?
So the bathroom would be in relation to the Honda Pilot sign that's in the left corner. If you're standing underneath that that Pilot sign,
Okay, so if I, for the
Yes.
record, Your Honor, I have my pen pointing towards the upper left-hand corner of the screen. There is a black sign with red lettering towards the ceiling. Is that the Honda sign there that you're referring to?
correct.
Let me actually.
So if you stood underneath that, the bathroom door would be immediately to your left.
All right. And then again, is it so under this? Is there a hallway? What's over there?
So it is I'd say 10 foot by 10 foot recess off the back of the garage, and then the bathroom is to your left.
Is that the hallway?
Yes, the width of the hall. It stays with the width of the hallway.
So back on state 6. So that front door there.
Correct.
Goes down the hallway, and here's the window here. Is that?
I can't see
What's
where
that
you're
on the
pointing.
screen,
Oh,
Counsel?
sorry. So into this, down this hallway, and this is the bathroom window here?
Yes. So yes.
And that's the bottom left-hand portion of the foundation, Your Honor, underneath the wooden railing. And so coming at it from this direction, under the Pilot sign, you walk back into that same hallway, and there's the bathroom?
Correct.
So now, and we left that the bathroom for the upstairs is almost directly above the bathroom here.
Correct.
So now, again, just kind of help us all understand the apartment above. So from the perspective where this photograph is being taken from, what's behind the photographer's position here?
In the apartment?
Yes.
So it would be living room space. You would be looking at the kitchen, facing the direction of this photo. Behind you would be what I would call the living room.
Okay. So we're looking at this perspective from the Judson side is behind me.
Correct.
And I'm looking across the apartment effectively towards west,
Correct.
and Myrtle would be to my left.
Correct.
So from this perspective of where you are now, the bathroom is sort of up in this direction. My arm is in the left-hand position, Your Honor, elevated to the front left.
Correct.
So now, when you were there between 2 and 6, did you make any observations?
I did make an observation. I was at one point using the saw, and I heard what sounded like movement of furniture upstairs, and it was enough noise to have me stop what I was doing and conversate with my mother, who was also there with me, and just ask what is going on upstairs.
So, is it fair to say you go to this garage often?
It is.
Okay. And in times when you've been there before, have you been aware that there's a tenant upstairs?
Yes.
And what types of sounds would you hear in the past with regard to tenants?
You could hear walking upstairs, pitter patter of feet, and normal. Nothing that was, I'd say, out of the normal. Nothing heavy movement, anything of the sort.
In terms of the separation between this garage workshop area for you in the residential unit, did you take any steps at the time that you created this with regard to separating out insulation and noise between the two places?
Yes, at the time when we purchased the property, there was no insulation or sheetrock in the bathroom ceiling or in the back hallway area either. Because I wanted to use the garage as a workshop and there were people living upstairs, I took steps to try to sound deaden the hallway and the bathroom, because I was going to put an air compressor in the back hallway and I wanted to keep the noise down. So I put sheetrock up in the hopes to try to quiet it down.
And the garage itself, is that otherwise also sheetrocked and insulated?
Correct.
And therefore, based upon your normal activity at this time, you're aware at times of other tenant movement.
Correct.
But was this episode now on December the 2nd, was that typical of the type of noises that you would hear?
No, it was loud. It was louder than normal.
And again, can you describe what it is that you thought was going on?
It sounded like somebody was moving furniture.
And am I understanding you correctly that the sound of this noise was of sufficient quality that you stopped working with power tools that you were using?
Correct.
And did I understand you correctly that you said something to your mother about it?
Yes.
And how long did this go on for?
I'd say a minute or so, a couple minutes max.
Okay. And did you then continue on with what you were doing?
Correct. I did.
All right. I have nothing further, thank you.
All right, so
Your
this
Honor,
is a
I'm
good
going to
time.
have the witness for a little while, so I
Yeah.
was wondering if we could take the break at this juncture.
We would go into lunch recess. May I, counsel, please stipulate to the return of all of our
Present
jurors?
to the jury.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, why don't we continue on with the examination? Thank you.
Thank you. I think I was up, Your Honor.
You are-
Thank you. Hi, Speaker Earl, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
Good. Thanks for being here with us. Have you ever testified before?
No.
First time, huh?
Yes.
Everyone treating you okay?
Yep.
That's good. All right. I just want to run through the events that you testified to on direct examination this morning as well. And and I also have the records of your interviews and such, okay?
Okay.
So see if it's consistent with you. And we'll start off with the easy thing. You and your wife own the property at 6.5 Myrtle?
Correct.
Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And it looks like on Tuesday, December 3rd, you spoke with a detective by the name of Detective Esposito from the Ansonia Police Department.
Correct.
Is that correct? Do you know Detective
Yes.
Esposito?
Yeah.
You knew him before that?
No.
No,
I did
that
not.
was the first time?
Yeah.
Okay, and just tell us, how was it that you came back to speak with Detective Esposito?
He came. We got a phone call that everything had happened Tuesday morning, and he, throughout the whirlwind process that was, he started talking. He interviewed me.
Sure. You were the property owner, and they were
Right.
doing an investigation,
Right.
right? And you didn't know anything about the specifics
No.
of what they were investigating?
No.
Yeah, okay. And then, do you remember, did Detective Esposito come to you over at Valley Motorsports or your home, or did you go to him? Do you recall?
I went to the police department.
Okay, all right. And you certainly recall speaking with him?
Correct.
All right, great. And when you were speaking with him, you told Detective Esposito that you were working on Friday, 11/29/2000. Let me just finish because we can't talk at the same time. You originally told him you were working on Friday, 11/29/2019, downstairs in the garage. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, great. And just so we're all oriented, Friday was the day after Thanksgiving.
Correct.
Okay, great. And you were cooperative with the officer at that time, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And you told him that you heard footsteps upstairs, correct?
Correct.
Right? And you told them that you heard a male voice. Is that correct?
I don't recall the male voice at the time, right now, no.
Okay. You don't recall if you told the officer that
Yeah,
you heard
that,
a
correct.
male voice. He'll be in here to testify as well, so it's fine. Do you recall telling the officer that you had last seen Christine Holloway when she paid the rent on November 15, 2019?
My wife handled getting the rent payments. I did not.
Okay.
So I do not recall that.
You don't recall telling that to the officer?
I do not.
Okay, all right. And then, let's see if we can walk through here from Tuesday, which was the 3rd. Your mom and you went to the Ansonia Police Department. it sounds
Correct.
like, Right? And that was in the afternoon. Is that fair?
Correct.
Okay. And your mom is Lori.
Yes,
Did you come here together with your mom?
Yes.
Yeah, she's here to testify today too, correct?
correct.
Okay. And then you met with Detective Brian Hart at that point. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And both you and Mom went, and did you meet them in the lobby, or did you meet them in the detective bureau or an interview room?
I think we met them in the lobby.
In the lobby. Okay. And was Mom with you?
Yes.
Did they separate the two of you, or were you interviewed together, if you recall?
I don't recall whether we were separated or interviewed together.
Okay, all right. And when you went to the Ansonia PD, you had some material changes to your story in regard to when you were at 6.5 Myrtle. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So you originally told them that you were there on Friday, and then you said you went to the garage on Sunday, 12/1, not Friday, 11/29.
Correct.
Is that correct? Okay. And what time, if you recall, did you go to the garage area of 6.5 Myrtle on Sunday, 12/1?
Between 2 and 6 p.m.
Okay. And was Mom with you then?
Yes.
Okay. And you were downstairs, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And you told the officers that you didn't recall hearing hammering noises upstairs. Is that correct?
I did not hear hammering noises. I heard what sounded like furniture movement.
Okay. Right. I was just going to ask you that. But your recollection is when you were downstairs working in the garage that you heard furniture moving. Is that right?
Correct.
And you were doing woodworking downstairs?
Yes.
And you were using power tools like saws and such?
Correct.
Okay. I may have missed this just in general. What were you doing on the afternoon of Sunday, December 1st, down in the workshop?
Working on cutting wood, building that Honda sign.
Okay. And was Mom with you?
Yes.
Was she helping out as well?
Yes.
That's terrific. Now, sir, one of the reports indicated, or maybe you even testified to that back then you were smoking. Is that correct?
Correct.
Do you recall going outside of the garage area when you would smoke?
I don't per se recall a specific instance, but I would smoke inside, smoke outside.
Okay.
You know, I wouldn't only smoke outside.
Okay.
So-
Do you recall telling Detective Hart that it was your habit to smoke outside?
I don't recall that, but I very well could have.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's fine. Hey, it's 5 years ago. It's okay. Sir, when you were outside, would you agree with me that the adjoining property is 6 Myrtle Avenue?
Yes.
Okay. And do you know Mr. George O'Meara that
Yes.
lives there? Okay.
Yeah.
Just back up for a second. How long was it that you and your wife, Carrie Watson, owned the property at 6.5?
Since 2018.
In 2018. Okay, so we're in 2019 that we're talking about now. So you had it for about a year at that point?
I'd say less than a year.
Less than a year. Okay, that's fine. But you had occasion to meet the next door neighbor, Mr. O'Meara, for example?
Yeah, we would say hello to each other.
Sure, yeah. Well, you're good neighbors, right? It's a residential area.
Right.
Okay, terrific. Now I'm going to ask you specifically on Sunday, when you were with Mom, okay, in the downstairs garage bay area working, did you recall anyone leaving the next door neighbor's house at 6 Myrtle in the afternoon time?
No,
You
I
didn't
don't recall that.
You don't recall seeing anyone then? Okay, great. Now, when you were with Mom on Sunday and you said you heard furniture moving, Did you go upstairs and see if there was anything going on?
I never went inside that apartment while they lived there.
Okay, not one time ever?
No.
Including this time frame of December of 2019?
Correct.
Okay. Okay.
Correct.
Now, I'm just going to go forward a little bit, okay? We were talking about, you went to the Ansonia Police Department, you talked to them about being at the property, and then it looks like on Thursday, December 5th, you had gone and spoke to an officer, John Fitzgerald. Do you remember that?
Yes, they called me in and asked me to go down to the police department for another interview.
Okay, all right. And did you go ahead and do that?
Yes.
Right, and you told the officers the same thing when you went down to the police station, that you recall hearing the furniture moving upstairs?
Correct.
Right, okay, no problem there. Do you recall having a concern, sir, with the property that the lights and the heat were on at one
Yes.
point? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you just tell us in your own words, you went back to the property to see if you could get in the property to adjust the heat.
I wanted to turn down the heat in the garage, and I wanted to shut the lights off in the garage, and I would ask to have the windows closed in the apartment.
Yep. Totally fine. Would you agree with me at the point that you went there on Thursday, December 5th, the house was still secured by the police department?
That's what I was told, yes.
Right. I mean, you couldn't just walk.
No, I was not allowed on the property.
Not allowed on the property.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you went there and you made a reasonable request and said to the officer, "Hey, would there be any way that I could get into the garage and turn down the heat and
Right.
turn the lights off?" Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And that was a patrol officer that was stationed there to make sure that nobody went into the property.
Yes, it was on the driveway side of the property
Okay.
that I spoke with the officer.
Okay. And you spoke to the officer at that time, correct?
Yes.
Right, okay. And while you were waiting to see whether or not you could get in to just go ahead and turn the heat down or turn the lights down, you chatted with the officer, correct?
I don't recall what I said, but I would, yeah, I wanted to walk up the property.
Right. Let's do it this way. The officer had to check with his supervisors. He didn't have authority to let you into the
Correct.
building, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
So I take it you went there, you made the request, "Hey, I own the property, can I get in there and turn the heat down?" And the officer would have said, "I got to check with my supervisors."
Yes.
Right, and you were waiting there with them.
Correct.
Okay, we're doing fine, okay? And do you recall telling the officer that Christine Holloway lived in the apartment for about a year and a half?
I would say that's a fair estimate, yes.
Yeah. And you only had 5 or 6 interactions with Miss Holloway?
I would call it a handful.
Yeah. Okay. And you told us, right? Your wife Carrie was responsible for the
She
rest.
handled that aspect of it.
She took care of that.
Correct.
Okay, great. You told the officer, that, for example, at that point, back in December of 2019, that you had never gone up to the apartment.
Correct.
Okay. And you told Officer Fitzgerald, as you told Attorney Stein, there was no access from the garage up to the apartment.
Correct.
Okay, terrific. And you told the officer that the furniture noise, the loud noise that you heard didn't concern you at that point.
It was enough to have me stop using the tools that I was using and say, geez, that's a lot of commotion upstairs.
There was a lot of noise.
Right.
Right? Okay. But it wasn't to the point that you decided to go upstairs and check.
No.
No, yeah.
But I wouldn't, no.
No. And you didn't pick up the phone and call the police department and say, "Hey, I heard loud noises upstairs. It's concerning."
Correct.
Correct? Okay. Okay. And then I just want to tighten this up. We're just about done. So it seems that you went there on Thursday to go ahead and turn the heat down and turn the lights, whatever you thought, close the windows, whatever you thought was appropriate at the property. Would you agree with me that it looks like maybe around 7 o'clock that night that you got the green light to go ahead and unlock the door to allow the officer to go in and turn the heat down and turn the lights down?
It was dark out. I don't recall what time it was.
I mean,
But-
it wasn't midnight. right?
No.
All right. Yeah, it gets dark early in December, right? Okay.
Correct.
Right? And at no time while you were there at the property, had you ever heard things like screaming, for example?
No.
No, okay. Yelling?
No.
No. And you never called the police, and you never went in the apartment?
No.
Hey, thanks for your time. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Attorney Durso. Sorry. Could you do me a favor? Could you just adjust that light so it's on the Elmo?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Good afternoon, Mr. I was about to call you Mr. Rutherford. Good afternoon, Mr. Petrillo.
Very good.
I want to show you,
What's that?
that's it.
That's him? Oh, okay. Where's this from?
Screen.
Oh, okay. What number is that?
It's going to be 167. 167.
Thanks so much. Your Honor, the state just showed me exhibit number 167. I have no objection to.
All right, with no objection, court will accept into evidence states 167 full.
Mr. Petrillo, I just want to show you a quick picture. 165 is a full exhibit in this case. This is a picture that was identified as a photo of Mr. Morales. Are you able to see that picture?
Yes.
Now, I asked you earlier on your direct about your hair, your facial features and your hair back in 2019.
Correct.
First of all, I asked you, was your hair, I mean, it appears to be redheaded or ginger colored, as people might say. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Right. As your hair appears right now today in 2025 is short.
Correct.
Was it similarly short in 2025?
Yes.
I'm sorry, 2019.
Yes.
And now this beard that you have, did you have that in 2019?
No, I had a little bit down here and then the mustache.
Okay. Can I show you what has been marked as states 167? Do you generally recognize who this handsome fellow is?
That is myself.
Okay. And is that appeared to be the way you appeared in 2019?
Correct.
So if I zoom back out, Your Honor, here's the button. So I would point out to the court in this full exhibit that this is appears, as we've seen from previous exhibits, to come from a body camera recording. Do you know when you were talking with officers, Mr. Piccirillo, whether you were being recorded by body camera? Do you know?
I was aware.
And do you believe that there are any similarities between you in 2019 and Jose Morales in 2019?
I would say that we are not overly similar, no.
I have nothing further.
I have another thing, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right, you're all set. You may step out of the witness box. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or solemnly and sincerely affirm, as the case may be, that the evidence you shall give concerning this case shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or upon penalty of perjury?
I do.
Please state your full name, spell your last name, and state your address for the record, please.
Hi, Ms. Picarillo. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
First of all, you see that mic right in front of you? Can you kind of pull that up towards your mouth a little bit or slide yourself in a little bit?
Okay.
You're really soft-spoken, and I'm very deaf. So if you can keep your voice up for us, that would be very helpful. Okay? Can I get a 1, 2, 3 testing?
1, 2, 3.
One more time.
1, 2, 3.
Okay, is that good?
better?
Can
Yeah.
we
Okay.
kind of keep it there? Great. All right. So that handsome fellow who just walked out of the courtroom, who was that?
That was my son, Christopher.
All right. And I want to ask you whether Christopher's married
Yes, he is.
and what is his wife's name?
Carrie.
And do they own a piece of property in Ansonia, Connecticut?
Yes, on Myrtle Street.
Okay. Would it be 6.5?
6.5 Myrtle.
Okay. And did they own it back in December of 2019?
Yes.
And I want to call your attention to the weekend just following Thanksgiving of 2019 and ask whether, well, first of all, are you aware, does your son sort of have any access or does he maintain anything at that property?
Well, he maintains practically the whole property. Well,
Okay. Not cutting the grass, but I mean, does he have any sort of a business or does he operate out of that building at all?
No business. He has a shop downstairs.
Okay, so he has a workshop downstairs. Okay, where downstairs? Is it
Where the 3-bay garage is,
okay?
directly underneath the apartment.
Very good. So under the 3-bay, under the apartment at the 3-bay garage, Chris has a shop there, right? All right. So, does Chris go to the shop sometimes to do work there?
Yes,
Okay.
he does.
And I want to call your attention to that weekend following Thanksgiving weekend. Do you recall, did you go with Chris to the shop that weekend?
Yes, that Sunday afternoon he came and picked me up.
Okay.
Yes.
So now I just want to kind of back up for a second and say you just told us Sunday afternoon. And do you know if that was December 1st of 2019?
Yes.
Okay. The Saturday before the day before would have been November 30th, and the day before that, Friday, would have been November the 29th. Did you go with him at all on Friday or Saturday?
No.
Okay.
Because we had, okay. Yeah.
So you just went Sunday. All right. So now, do you recall when you approximately what time you got to the garage on Sunday?
Say 2 o'clock-ish or around there.
Okay. And do you know when you left?
Around 6.
Okay. Now, this is 5.5 years ago. That's a long time
Yeah.
ago, right? And you seem very certain about the dates. Is there a reason why I'm sorry, about the times. Is there a reason why you're very certain about the times?
Because it was sort of, yeah, he picked me up in the afternoon and we went, and then it was snowing out, sort of, and so we were done with what we had to do, so.
Do you recall at some point looking back at your cell phone to determine times that you were at the property?
No, I don't do that.
Okay. Now, with regard to then on Sunday, December the 1st, when you arrived at the workshop, what was Chris doing?
Well, I was helping him make frames for this Honda sign that he has, and so we were cutting wood and measuring and putting together that.
All right. So Chris was cutting the wood.
Yes,
He was using power
bandsaw, yeah.
All right. And you were helping him.
Yes, well, not with the saw, but no.
Okay. All right. Showing you what has been marked as states 166. Can you tell me, do you generally recognize what this is?
That is an area of the workshop, yes.
All right. And I want to call your attention to sometime while you were down in this space, Chris was working, you were helping. Do you recall hearing hearing any unusual noises?
Well, we heard heavy dragging, heavy movement upstairs, which was out of the ordinary.
Okay, well, you said it's out of the ordinary. Had you been in that workshop before on other
Oh, I
occasions?
do various times, yes. I would go over there often.
And during the times that you had been there before, had you ever heard noises like that coming from the upstairs?
No.
On this particular date, when you heard these heavy noises, what happened between you and Chris?
Well, I think if I remember right, I mentioned something about it, and we were just trying to figure out what it was.
Okay.
Curious.
So when this noise was happening, did Chris stop what he was doing?
Well, we were stopping intermittently with the saw and putting the stuff together, but you could still hear it from overhead.
And at some point in time, did Chris go back to working with his saws?
Yes.
And shortly thereafter, did you hear anything?
Yes, I did. I heard something like a banging, and I heard 3 bangs. They were sounded like a hammer or something, which I thought was strange because if they're, I don't know, I just thought it was strange. It was not normal.
Can you describe the banging that
Yes.
you heard?
They were like, and then a pause, and the last one was really hard, and the third one was a pause, and then a bang at the end.
Okay, so I want to be clear. Did you just sort of describe with your hand on your table that you heard 2 bangings in close?
Yes.
Yeah,
and then a pause,
there's a pause.
and then a really big one at the end.
And what kind of a pause? Are we talking about, a second, 5 seconds?
Well, the first 2 bangs were like bang, 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 and then like bang. I don't know if it was a second time.
All right. But in your mind, there was at least a separation of some
Yes,
moment
definitely.
between the initial 2 and then the third one.
Yes.
So now, that we lost the stream. I did. Okay. Apparently, I'm having technical difficulties. The area that you heard this banging coming from. First of all, can you tell us where you were in this photograph when you heard that sound?
Let me see where the D is.
This D right here?
The Honda D.
This
I was up. Yeah, stayed to the right, but
Here?
up around, a little closer in, but I was around that area.
Where my pen is now?
Maybe a little in, yeah,
This
around
way?
there. Yeah, around there, yeah.
Okay, so first of all, Your Honor, my pen is on the right side of the photograph. There is an upside down D on a red sign, a white letter, and my pen is just in front of that sign towards the middle of the photograph.
Thank you.
And Ms. Piccirillo, can you sort of localize for me where it is that you heard the bang, those
Well, it's
banging?
definitely coming from the ceiling.
The ceiling
This,
where?
like, around where the fan going.
I'm sorry.
Where the fan is, the fan.
So somewhere over here,
Yeah, around that area.
Okay, where
It
my-
sounded like, yeah, it was from the ceiling. Well,
right?
definitely the ceiling.
I'm just trying to ask you if you're capable of localizing it. So where I have my pen now is here's the ceiling fan.
Yeah, it was around in that general area.
Okay. So first of all, Your Honor, my pen is there's a ceiling fan towards the top part of the photograph, and my pen is just to the right under what looks like to be a hydraulic or an air hose at the top of the picture.
All right, court will note it for the record. Thank you.
And so is that the area where you believe those banging noises were coming?
Well, they were coming out from the ceiling. Yeah, from the ceiling area. Yeah.
So, is it fair to say, where is the bathroom? Where is the bathroom downstairs in this shop?
Okay. Where the ATC sign is, there's another hallway there.
Okay.
That's a hallway. And then there's the first door on the left is the bathroom.
So this ATC sign here,
Yes. Yes.
and is this the hallway entrance to the bathroom?
Yes.
So, again, if this is the hallway entrance into the bathroom where you had me direct, am I sort of in the same general area here?
Yeah, in this area up there. Yeah. Up there.
Thanks. I have nothing further.
All right, Attorney Galvin Cross.
Hi, Ms. Picarello. How you doing?
Hi. Fine, thank you.
Thanks for being with us today.
Okay.
You ever testified before?
No.
You put a chapter in the book. You got
I
to come
know.
to court and testify, right? I just have a couple of questions with you. You just saw Chris. Chris just testified, right? You got the carpool hopefully together?
Yes, we drive together.
That's terrific. Now, if I understand correctly, and you tell me if you're wrong, the police reports indicate that you and your son Christopher went to the Ansonia Police Department to the lobby on Tuesday, December 3rd. Is that correct? If you recall.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was a Wednesday or Tuesday. I don't know. But it was a couple days later.
Okay. Was it a couple of days after Chris had already spoken to the police?
I don't know the answer to that question.
Okay. You talked to the police officers, correct? And you would agree with me that you weren't the property owner of 6.5 Myrtle,
I agree.
right?
I agree,
Okay.
yeah.
Chris and his wife
Carrie,
Carrie owned,
yeah.
right? Okay, that's great. So tell me, on Sunday, on the 1st, you testified that you were at the garage area that was just shown on the exhibit. It's still up there. And was that the afternoon hours?
Yes, in the afternoon.
In the afternoon, right? Chris had gone and picked you up at your home and went back to Ansonia? Yeah? Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. And you were helping him?
Yeah, we've always done that.
Okay.
So it's not anything unusual.
No,
I always help him.
it's very nice. You helped him with woodworking and whatever.
Yeah,
he was
whatever he needs. Whatever. And for an extra hand,
I'm sorry?
Sometimes you need two people to do something.
doing. Okay.
And
Hold the tape measure at
I'm
both
the-
ends.
other person to do it.
Yeah, no, you're helping your son out, right? Nothing wrong with that. Okay, great. And let me ask you about what you just testified to. You said that when you were downstairs in the shop area, right, there's a 3-car garage down there. That's the shop area, correct? Okay. And you said that you heard 3 bangs. Is that correct?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. And
Yeah.
Can you tell us, I think you said you got there around 2 o'clock. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Around there, yeah.
And you left around 4:30. Is that correct?
6, I said, I think.
You left around 6?
I don't know if we left. It was snowing out, so we left, and it was.
Oh, okay. If you don't, it's okay. Do you recall approximately what time you left?
5, 6, 4. I don't know, within an hour or that. I don't know.
Okay. Let's do it the
Yeah.
easy way. The banging that you heard?
Yes,
Was it soon after you got there or just before you left or in the middle?
in the middle.
In the middle. Okay, that's fine. So you had gone to the shop with Chris, and some period of time went by, and then you said you heard the banging. Is that correct? Right? And do you remember going to the Ansonia Police Department and speaking to Detective Brian Hart?
Yes.
Yes. Did you know Detective Hart?
No.
Okay. And do you know who Detective Esposito is?
No. I mean, his name is probably. I only really spoke with Brian Hart,
Okay.
Detective Hart.
I'm just going to finish up here just with a couple of questions for you. The officers are going to come in and testify, so it's fine.
Okay.
Okay. But you went to the Ansonia Police Department with your son Chris, and he told the police officers that he had given them bad information regarding when he was at the garage.
Oh, well, maybe, yeah, because he said that he gave the wrong days, and I said no, because we had 2 Thanksgivings. Well, we had Thanksgiving Day, and then I made another turkey on Friday, and then whatever. But he was mixed up on his days and on what happened.
Yeah, and you went to the Ansonia Police
Yes.
Department with him to speak to the police officers. Good? Mm-hmm. Okay. And did you tell the officers that you never heard any screaming or yelling upstairs while you were there?
No, I did not.
Okay. You didn't hear.
I mean, I did not hear anything, and no, I did not.
Right. And you didn't hear anything. Okay. Did you recall telling the police officers that you never had any contact with the upstairs tenants?
I've never met either of them. I've never met either of them.
Okay. And did you even tell the police officers you had never been to the apartment upstairs?
I don't know. I saw pictures of it. I don't know if I was before. No, I never really went up there. Or maybe I did, and I don't remember. But no, I had no reason to go up there.
Sure. Okay. My last question for you is, do you recall telling the police officers that you had never been upstairs in the apartment?
No, that was 5 years ago. I don't remember if I
You
said
don't
that or
remember.
not.
That's okay. Thank you, Ronna. I have no other
Okay.
questions. Thanks for
Okay.
your time.
Okay.
Nothing further, Your
Teresa,
Honor.
you're all set. Okay, you're all set. Thank you.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or solemnly and sincerely affirm, as the case may be, that the evidence you shall give concerning this case shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or upon penalty of perjury?
Yes, I do.
Please state your full name, spell your last name, and state your badge number for the record, please.
Jonathan Tresser, Troesser, badge number 45.
Thank you.
You may be seated.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
I have a moment with counsel, Your Honor.
Yes.
This is the montage, right? This is the next. No. Just tell me what numbers they are each month.
168, 169, I refer to the council.
Your Honor, I've seen 168 and 169. I have no objection to their introduction. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you. With no objection.
Identify which is which.
So
It's okay. Court will accept into evidence states full with no objection. 168, which appears to be a map, and 169, which is a DVD. Thank you.
good afternoon, Mr. Tresser.
Good afternoon.
Can you please tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury who you're currently employed by?
The City of Ansonia Police Department,
And how long have you been a police officer?
17 years and 9 months.
And what are your current responsibilities?
I'm currently assigned to the Detective Division.
And did you have to go through any training to be a police officer?
I graduated from the Waterbury Police Academy in 2007. Did field training with the department. I've attended other specialized training, such as DEA Basic Narcotics School. I served on the DEA task force for about 5.5 years. And then I did other training and experience, or other training classes ongoing annually, and regarding interview and interrogation and other training related to the Detective Division.
Now, were you working for the Ansonia Police Department on December 2nd of 2019?
I was, as a member of the DEA task force.
And what do you mean by that?
On the DEA task force, we are employed by the City of Ansonia Police Department, but we work outside the agency in New Haven under the task force, the federal task force.
So effectively, you were working in New Haven and not necessarily with the Ansonia Police Department at that particular time?
Correct, but I was still an Ansonia police detective.
Okay. So I want to direct your attention to an investigation that occurred on or about that day. Do you recall an investigation that was instituted on that day?
Yes.
Okay. What do you recall about that?
I had finished my normal shift at around 5 o'clock on that December 2nd. I got a call at home to respond to the police department where there was a report of a suspected homicide and a missing child. And I responded to the police department, and I was briefed on the case at that point, what details were discovered up until that point. At the time, when I responded to the police department, I was briefed by Lieutenant Froelich and Lieutenant Lynch, I believe, and there was information regarding a vehicle that had left the house on 6.5 Myrtle Avenue, and we had information that the vehicle was registered to a Jose Morales, and that the vehicle was registered to a 105 First Avenue in New Haven.
So, when you got this information, what were your responsibilities at this point?
At this point, New Haven PD was contacted, and they had located the vehicle parked in front of the residence in New Haven. Myself and Officer Nelson were assigned to go out to New Haven and to maintain visual surveillance of that parked vehicle, while other members of the agency and other agencies were gathering more intel back at the police department in Ansonia and at the original crime scene.
So, and did you in fact do that?
Yes.
And what happened after you did you maintained visual surveillance of the vehicle?
Myself and Officer Nelson relieved New Haven officers that located the vehicle. We sat in my unmarked DEA vehicle, and at one point I exited the vehicle before it started snowing too heavily, and I was plainclothes at the time. I walked past the parked vehicle, looked in it to see if there was a car seat base at the time, because that was a major concern of the missing child. At the time, I saw a baseball bat in the front passenger floorboard, but there was no car seat or car seat base in the vehicle. We waited until about 3:40 a.m. on December 3rd until other personnel arrived on scene to make contact at the residence.
So how long would you say you were on surveillance that night?
I would estimate it was anywhere from 4 to 5 hours.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 53. Is this the vehicle that you saw that night at 105 First Avenue, New Haven?
Yes, it is.
State's 52, another angle of the vehicle. Again, is that the same vehicle?
Yes.
And 54, is that the vehicle that you saw that night?
Yes.
Now, when other detectives arrived at 105 First Ave, what was your responsibilities at that point?
At that time, we made contact with the assistance of New Haven PD, with the residents of the house. The male that opened the door for us and allowed us into the residence, his name was Marcos, let us in. We advised him while we were there. We were there to speak to Jose and also to look for the missing child, Vanessa.
Now, outside of that, did you have any investigative purpose when you were at 105 First Ave?
So when we were at 105 First Ave the first time, we were looking for any evidence of Vanessa, obviously. After the Lieutenant Froelich and Detective Adcox at the time transported Jose Morales back to the police department for an interview, again, I maintained surveillance of the vehicle, and the plan was to wait until the family went back to sleep and the lights turned off, but that didn't happen, so we towed the vehicle around 5:40 in the morning, I believe, and I followed the vehicle back to the Troop I barracks in Bethany, and it was not touched or manipulated in any way on the exterior or the interior.
Now, at some point in time, were you present when there when search warrants were executed on that vehicle?
On the following day, the 4th, I was present while the State Police Major Crimes Unit executed the search warrant on the vehicle. I did not participate in the search warrant, but I was there to maintain custody of the vehicle as they performed their search.
Now, after that search warrant was conducted, can you tell us a little bit about what else you did in connection to this case?
I had left the Troop I Barracks and returned back to Ansonia. Went back to the residence at 6.5 Myrtle Avenue to get the keys for the victim's vehicle, which was a black Ford Focus. The house was still being maintained by Ansonia police personnel at that time. I brought the keys out of the residence, and the vehicle was again towed to Troop I Barracks and was not touched inside or out.
And were you present when was there a search warrant done on that vehicle as well?
Yes, there was.
And were you present for that search warrant?
Yes, I was.
After that warrant was executed on that vehicle, what else did you do in relation to this case?
Once both vehicles were processed, all the evidence that was seized from the state police, I transported back to the Ansonia Police Department. It was labeled and placed into the evidence room.
Now, after you did that, what else did you do in connection to this case?
On the following day, we had a report of information of items being recovered at the Kitchication Storage Facility in Hamden. There were items that were reported to have blood-like substance on them, and we responded out to the scene in Hamden, along with the State Police Major Crime Squad, who ultimately processed the evidence that was seized there.
Okay, and in addition to helping out, or I guess responding to Kitchication, is there anything else that you did in relation to the investigation in this case?
On scene at the Kitchication facility in Hamden, I conducted a few interviews with the owner, the truck worker that was with the truck driver, a few other employees at the building. We also obtained consent from the owner of the facility to access and search the Kitchication bins that were located in Derby and Ansonia that we knew were on that truck route.
And did you in fact go back and assist in that?
Yes, I was there present while the state trooper from Major Crimes processed both. There was 2 bins on Derby Avenue in Derby and 1 bin in Ansonia on Main Street.
And now, when you say 2 bins on Derby Avenue in Derby, where was one of the bins located? I guess one side of where the bins were located.
They were in a parking lot, I believe it's for St. Michael's Church, and it was the southwest corner of the parking lot, right in the corner by Bank Street and Derby Avenue.
Okay. In relation to this case, were you tasked with gathering any type of surveillance from the surrounding area?
Yes, based on the intensity of the crime and the amount of information that was coming in from all different sources, there was a group of different agencies, including Ansonia, Derby, FBI, State Police, that helped work together to try to obtain as much surveillance video as we possibly could. Over the course of the investigation, there's been thousands of hours of video that's been obtained. I personally have watched countless, hundreds and hundreds of hours myself, rewatched the same videos over and over again. But there was, some cameras and some information that would come in would lead us to further information to where to look for the next camera. So it was a lengthy process to continue to obtain surveillance video.
Now, when you were looking through this various surveillance cameras that law enforcement seized in relation to this case, were you looking for anything in particular?
So at the point of this investigation, initially I was looking for a vehicle matching the description of Jose Morales' Nissan Sentra that was seen leaving the scene of 6.5 Myrtle Avenue after the officer's welfare check. As the investigation went on, there was information that led myself to look back into video for the victim's black Ford Focus. As we found out through phone data and other information that there were trips made to New Haven, and I didn't initially see the Nissan Sentra, but once the other information was developed regarding the Ford Focus, I was able to locate a vehicle that matched the description of the Ford Focus on the video.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 168. Can you see that?
Yes, sir.
Now, in relation to State's 168, can you tell us, in this map of, what is this 168? Can you tell us what this is?
It's a map of mainly Ansonia and part of Derby, Shelton, and on the legend, those are the cameras and their locations that were the most valuable to my investigation.
So, with regards to, on the legend where it says crime scene 6.5 Myrtle Ave, it's a red, looks like a red tag. Would that be in the area up here, pointing to the middle top portion of the map where there's a purple, green, and red tag clustered together?
Yes.
And would this be the box, the closer up look to the right there where the purple, green, and the red tag are located?
Yes, it would.
So this is the area of the crime scene. So 22 Cottage Street. Can you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what 22 Cottage Street is?
22 Cottage Street is a residence. Cottage Street runs parallel to Myrtle Avenue, and there is a perpendicular street, Judson Street, that you could access the end of Myrtle Avenue through from Cottage to Myrtle Street.
So if I'm standing in the front yard of Cottage Street, 22 Cottage, and I'm looking straight, what am I looking at?
You're looking directly down Judson Place.
Okay. Now, can you tell us whether or not there was any video that was seized from 22 Cottage Place in relation to this case?
There were many hours of surveillance footage seized from the Google Nest doorbell cam of that residence.
And were you able to, and you reviewed that footage?
Yes.
When the footage was seized, were you able to determine whether or not the footage was approximate to real time, or was it fast, was it slow, was it actual date?
I was able to determine, based on the fact that it's a Google Nest camera, that it is internet-based and it was in real time.
I want to direct your attention to 14 Mott Street, which is this green tag here, which is again in this box to the right. Can you tell us where 14 Mott Street is in relation to 6.5 Myrtle Ave?
So Mott Street comes off on a Y angle from Cottage Avenue. It's just around the block. It's very close to 6.5 Myrtle Avenue. There's no house on the property in between 14 Cottage Street and 6.5 Myrtle Ave. There's like an open lot there as part of the property, and the house had 3 camera angles on it, 2 of which looked directly up West Street to Myrtle Avenue.
Okay, so if I'm standing in front of 14 Mott Street and I'm looking straight out to the street, what would be directly in front of me?
You would see the intersection of West Street and Mott and Cottage.
So if I went all the way up West Street, what would be that cross street all the way up to at the top of West Street?
Myrtle Avenue.
Okay. And for these camera angles, are you able to see 6.5 Myrtle Ave from these camera angles?
Yes.
And do you know whether or not this particular was camera seized from 14 Mott Street?
Yes, surveillance video was footage was seized, I believe, on 2 different occasions from that residence.
And can you tell us whether or not, have you reviewed this footage?
Yes, I have.
And can you tell us in reviewing the footage whether or not the footage of 14 Mott Street is approximate to real time, ahead, slow? What were your findings when you reviewed the footage?
Based upon corroborating the vehicles and the people walking and everything on the videos from 14 Mott Street and 22 Cottage Street. I was able to determine that the time was in real UTC time, which is Universal Coordinated Time, which is 5 hours ahead of our local time.
So when you were looking at this footage for the target vehicles in relation to this case, you had to look at, you had to subtract 5 hours?
Correct.
Now, I want to direct your attention to 2 Elm Street. That's the orange tag here in the legend, which is located in the center, just about in the center of this exhibit. Can you tell us what 2 Elm Street is?
2 Elm Street was the old Ansonia Police Department at the time.
And can you tell us whether or not you were able to seize any camera footage in relation to this case from the old Ansonia Police Department?
Yes, we were.
And did you review all of that footage?
Yes, I did.
And when in reviewing that footage, are you able to tell us whether or not that footage is approximate to real time? Is it fast? Is it slow?
That footage is approximate to real time.
Now, when you're at the old Ansonia Police Department, can you just give us an idea of what the surroundings look like, the surrounding streets look like?
Looking out from the front of 2 Elm Street, there's an island across, a triangular-shaped island. Elm Street runs across the front of the police department. Looking off into the distance, going up the hill would be Platt Street. And Elm Street would continue off to your right, towards Main Street.
Now, 696 Main Street. This is the purple tag. This is the call-out box, or the up-close box in the lower right-hand corner of this exhibit. Can you tell us what 696 Main Street is?
That's the Ansonia Shell gas station.
And were you able to seize any camera footage from the Shell gas station in relation to this case?
Yes, we were.
And did you review any of that footage for the target vehicles that you've mentioned in connection to this case?
Yes, I did.
And in relation to your reviewing of that footage, were you able to determine whether or not that footage was in real time, approximate to real time, or was it fast, or was it slow?
That footage was 11 minutes slow.
So when you're reviewing that footage, you had to take into account 11 minutes and speed it up, or at least look 11 minutes, or add 11 minutes when you're looking at the footage?
Correct. You had to add 11 minutes.
Okay. 4 Division Street, which is the yellow tag here. It just looks like it's just next to where the Shell gas station is. Can you tell us what that is?
That is Maria's Hair Gallery, which is in Derby.
What is, how close to the Shell gas station is Maria's Hair Gallery?
Directly across the street.
And were you able to seize any camera footage from this establishment?
Yes, we were.
And were you able to review that footage in relation to this case for the target vehicles that you've mentioned?
I did.
And in reviewing that footage, were you able to determine whether or not this footage was off in by any way?
That footage was in approximate real time.
Approximate real time, okay. And just as a point of reference, this blue tag here with the I, which is located just south, where just above where it says East Derby, what is that tag?
That is the location of the Kiducation donation bins.
And would that be in the area of St. Michael's Church?
Yes.
In relation to this case, were you able to seize any video from 273 Derby Avenue?
Yes, we were.
Okay. Now, that's the dark blue or black tag right here, just south or just below where the purple and or the dark purple and yellow tags are?
Correct.
Give me one moment. Sorry, let me hear. Gavin?
Mr. Joseph, could just slide it over a little bit because you're referring back to the identification box, but we can't see it. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
That's perfect. Thank you very much.
All set?
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right.
So, again, where my pen is pointed here, the dark blue tag, that would be 273 Derby Ave.
Correct.
Were you able to seize any video from that area?
Yes, we were.
And were you able to review that video to the best that you could for any target vehicles that you think would be connected to this case?
Yes, I was.
Okay. And were you able to determine if that was accurate time or was it too fast or too slow?
I didn't obtain that video personally, so I believe it appears to be in approximate real time,
Okay.
but I could not confirm that.
And finally, directing your attention to this light blue tag here, which would be 535 Main Street, just above the orange tag in this exhibit. Can you tell us what that is?
That's Auto Repairs Unlimited.
And where is Auto Repairs Unlimited in relation to the Shell station?
It's less than a half a mile away down Main Street, on the corner of Main Street and Father Slemmy.
And were you able to, was law enforcement able to seize any video in relation to this case from that establishment?
Yes, we were.
And did you review that video footage yourself?
I did.
And were you able to determine whether or not that video footage was approximate to real time, or was it fast, or was it slow?
I obtained that video footage myself, and it was 17 minutes slow to real time.
Okay. Now, in connection to this case, you said that you reviewed hundreds of hours of video looking for target vehicles, right?
Correct.
And what were the target vehicles in your mind?
It was the Nissan Sentra, silver in color, had a loud exhaust that was, noticeable on any of the videos that had sound recording, and the other vehicle was a black Ford Focus.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
You may.
I'm going to show you what the marked as States Exhibit 169. It's a full exhibit. Do you recognize States 169?
Yes, I do.
And what is States 169?
That is a CD containing a video montage that we worked together on to condense all of the videos that we deemed important and relevant that contained video footage of the suspect vehicles. And I initialed that disc to show that I had, reviewed it before.
Testifying today?
Yes.
Okay. And in relation, in creating this video, does this montage have, I guess, notations in it regarding each particular video and whether or not it's on approximate to real time, fast or slow?
Yes, it does.
Your Honor, with your permission, I'd like to play this for the jury.
Sure, how long is the video?
About 15 minutes.
About 15 minutes? Why don't we do that and then take our recess? Thank you.
Chelsea, you want to go? Could you stop it, Chelsea? Stop it real quick. So, one more question before we play the video. So, when you did the video montage in connection to this case, is this video from the entire weekend of November 29th through December 2nd? Or what portion of the weekend did you focus on?
The first and the second.
Thank you. Now, Detective Tresser, what video angle are we seeing right now?
This is a video from 14 Mott Street looking across the intersection up West Street towards Myrtle Avenue.
Okay. Just stop it there. When you were looking at this video, on all the videos, what in particular were you focusing on with regards to the defendant's vehicle?
I was looking for passengers or other identifying features of the vehicle, as well as other items that may have been in the vehicle at the time, such as the child that we were looking for.
In relation to the car itself, though, in addition to the loud muffler, you have some video that doesn't have audio. Visually, what were you looking for?
I knew it was a Nissan Sentra, an older model. It had a low-hanging exhaust that was visually defective, as well as loud audibly. Had a sunroof, didn't have tinted windows, and it had specific Nissan stock wheels on it.
Do you recall whether or not there was a front license plate on the vehicle?
It did not have a front license plate.
Is that something that you would have looked for?
Yes.
Now, in relation to this video, part of the video here, 273 Derby Ave, was this slowed down?
Yes, it was.
For what purpose was it slowed down for?
The vehicle was traveling at a rather high rate of speed, going past the condo where it was being videoed from, and we slowed it down to try to identify any identifying features on the vehicle.
And would this be going towards or away from St. Michael's Church?
That would be going towards St. Michael's Church.
And would this be going towards or away from St. Michael's Church, this view?
Away from St. Michael's Church.
And if you get to the end of the street here, is there a traffic light at the end of the street?
Yes, there is.
And what's the intersection at the end of this Derby Avenue here?
That'd be the intersection of Derby Avenue, Division Street, Elm Street, and Main Street, Ansonia.
And this would be the Shell gas station?
Correct.
Now again, is this is the Shell gas station? Would this be, is this the 11 minutes off?
Correct.
Okay, so if we're looking at the time and date in the corner, this would be December 1st, Sunday, December 1st, 2019 at 6:18 a.m.?
Correct.
Again, this is still the Shell station?
Correct.
And this next view would be Maria's Hair Gallery,
Yes.
approximate to real time?
Approximate to real time, yes.
That's another Shell station video right there?
Yes.
And this is the Auto Repair Unlimited video?
Yes, it is.
So if you're going down Judson Place right now, where this car just took the right from Cottage, Myrtle Ave would be where?
It'd be on the right-hand side.
This is from Mott Street. Mott Street. That one's Cottage, right? No, Mott Street. Yeah, both again, Mott. Mott Street, yeah. This is. What time did this say?
We just saw the Mott Street camera. Is this the car coming from Mott Street towards
Correct.
Judson Place? Now, this next part of the video is going into Monday, December 2nd. You said one of the target cars was Christine Holloway's car?
Yeah, it was a recently purchased black four-door Ford Focus.
Okay. relation to that clip that we just saw at 4:29 a.m. on December 2nd, were you able to, you had information from call detail records with regards to the coming and goings of certain handheld devices at this point in time?
Yeah, so the information regarding Jose Morales' cell phone and Christine Holloway's cell phone, there were trips that were made out to New Haven. And based on that information, I went back and reviewed the video to find what appears to be the black Ford Focus leaving and coming back on, at 2 times on the morning of the 2nd.
This is West Street. That car just went up West Street.
Yes, that's West Street, and it's taking a left onto Myrtle Avenue and stopping right there where 6.5 Myrtle Avenue is.
Is this vehicle the stop sign, the vehicle that you were focusing on?
Yes.
In connection to this investigation, were you aware that there was a welfare check
Yes, I was.
at 6.5 Myrtle Ave? Okay. And the footage we're about to see is the welfare check from December 2nd?
Correct.
And that would have been what, do you remember what officer that was?
That was Officer Chris Kelly.
Would that be the officer at the top of Myrtle Ave there, crossing west?
Yes.
Attorney Gavin, is this a good time to break, or
That would be great.
All
Thank
right.
you, Your Honor.
we're going to stand in our 15-minute afternoon recess? Ladies and,
you, Your Honor.
thank you.
Good afternoon, Detective.
Good afternoon.
How you doing?
Good, yourself?
Great. Did a lot of hard work in this case.
There was a lot of hard work.
All right. I have all the police reports, so I'm just going to run through chronologically with you what it appears, the efforts that you took as part of this investigation. And we start off on Monday, December 2nd, and I think you said at that time you were primarily assigned to the DEA task force. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So, and you wouldn't have been assigned to report out of the Ansonia Police Department when you're on the task force, correct?
We do get called in for major cases.
Right, but in your normal affairs, you're working with the task force. You're not going to the Ansonia PD Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Yes, that is correct.
Right, okay, all right. So you're doing your job at the task force on Monday, and I think you told us you got contacted to report to the Ansonia Police Department. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so you went down to the task force. Do you remember what time you got there? Approximately. I don't need the...
My hours at the task force are 9 to 5.
Okay, so it would have been after you were after the task force.
When I responded to the police department,
Yes.
I got the call around 9 o'clock at night.
Okay, so 9 to 5 at the task force, went home or did whatever you did, and then you got a call about 9 p.m. On Monday night?
Yes.
Okay, and then you reported to the Ansonia Police Department, and then at the Ansonia Police Department, you realized or were told or you were advised that there was an ongoing investigation. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, and then do you know who Officer Nelson is?
Yes, I do.
And who's Officer Nelson?
Officer Brendan Nelson, he's a junior officer to me.
Okay,
Works for the police department.
at the Ansonia Police Department,
Correct.
right? And he was involved in this investigation as well, correct?
Yes, he was.
Okay, so I think you told us that the first task that you had was, after reporting to the Ansonia Police Department, was to go ahead and travel to 105 First Avenue in New Haven. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and the purpose was to check on some vehicles there. Is that correct?
Correct, to locate Jose Morales' Nissan Sentra.
Okay, that was your charter for that evening on Monday evening, was to find Jose Morales' Nissan Sentra.
Correct.
Right, and that's the Nissan Sentra we just saw in all the videos, the montage.
To the best of my knowledge, yes.
Sure, yeah, and you went there and you got there in the evening hours, correct?
Yes, late evening, going into the next early morning hours.
Okay, and did you go up to the residence at that point, or did you and Officer Nelson just sit and wait once you discovered the vehicle?
We sat and waited in the car, just maintained visual surveillance of the vehicle.
Okay, and you didn't want anyone to move the vehicle or drive away with the vehicle, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, and I think you told us at one point that you had actually walked down to take a look into the vehicle from the exterior of the vehicle. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and was it snowing heavily at that point?
I believe it was snowing on and off at the time.
Okay, great. And how long were you there with Officer Nelson before other brother and sister officers arrived?
I don't know the exact time of our arrival in New Haven, but the other officers arrived around 3:40 a.m.
Okay, and that was people like Detective Adcox and Detective Froelich and other brother and sister officers from the Ansonia Police Department.
And New Haven Police Department as well.
And New Haven, because you had alerted them that you were there to go ahead and observe the Nissan Sentra.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, all right. And then about 3:40 in the morning, officers approached 105 First Avenue and made entry voluntarily into the home. Is that correct?
Correct.
Did you go in then?
I did.
You went into the house with, I'm going to pick on him, Detective Adcox or Detective Froelich. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, great. And when you got into the house, did you observe that Mr. Morales was there?
He was called up from the basement.
Okay. Well, it was 3:40 in the morning, right? People were asleep at that point?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, it'd be fair to assume at 3:40 in the morning. Which one? You went into the house. You met Marcos Garcia, you told us, correct?
Correct.
His stepfather, right?
Correct.
Okay. And you met his mother, did you not? Lydia
Yes.
De Jesus, right? She was there as well. And at some point, Mr. Morales, I think you just said, came from the basement and went up into the living room, kitchen area of the home. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And was, at that point, was Mr. Morales under arrest?
No.
No. Was he asked to go voluntarily to the Ansonia Police Department to be interviewed?
Yes.
And did he agree to voluntarily go to the Ansonia Police Department to be interviewed?
Yes.
Okay. And I take it, well, did you go with him to the Ansonia Police Department, sir?
No, I did not.
Okay. You stayed and secured, continued to secure the vehicles. Is that correct?
Correct. Myself
Okay.
and Officer Nelson.
All right, great. So Mr. Morales left from New Haven, went up to the Ansonia Police Department. You didn't go, and I think you told us, correct me if I'm wrong, that at some point in the early morning hours, a tow truck would have come, would have secured the Nissan Sentra, and would have taken it to Troop I in Bethany. Is that fair?
Correct.
Okay, and you observed all of that, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And by the time that did you travel with the car all the way up to Bethany?
I did. I followed it.
Oh, okay. So now it's probably past daybreak at that point, or close to it, correct?
Yeah, I believe it was 5:40 when we towed the vehicle from New Haven.
5:40 in the morning, okay, and then had to go all the way up to Bethany.
Correct.
Okay, so that's Monday. What did you do in regard to the investigation on Tuesday?
The following day, I responded to the Troop I barracks, and my presence was there while the CSP Major Crimes processed the Nissan Sentra.
Right. Can you just tell us what you mean by major crime process, the Nissan Sentra?
Yeah, so there was a search warrant for Jose Morales' Nissan Sentra that we towed there, and Connecticut State Police Major Crimes Unit was the one that executed the search warrant, processed the evidence, sealed the evidence on scene, which was later turned over to myself to transport to the Ansonia Police Department.
Okay. And I know you were on the task force, but it's not unusual in major investigations for local agencies like Ansonia to call on the Connecticut State Police to assist. Is that fair?
Correct.
Right. Okay. Not on a shoplifting charge or a speeding ticket, but on serious investigations. Is that correct?
Yes.
And they're available unless they're out on another scene, correct? Yeah?
To the best of my knowledge, yes.
All right, so they processed the car, you're up there, you're just sort of observing that you're not actually doing the processing, correct? On the
Correct.
Nissan Sentra. Okay, and what did you do next at that point?
I left the Troop I barracks, traveled to Ansonia to 6.5 Myrtle Avenue, put on personal protective equipment to enter the residence, which was still under maintenance by our officers there for the active search warrants, and went into the residence to obtain Christine Holloway's Ford Focus key,
Okay,
and then that vehicle was towed to Troop I barracks as well.
right, okay. And when you say the property was secured, 6.5 Myrtle I'm talking about, the property was secured, you went in to get the Ford Focus key, that's the black Ford Focus, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and that residence was secured, meaning that the public couldn't go in there, or anybody could go in there at that point, correct?
Correct. It was an active crime scene still.
Active investigation, correct? Yep. And you told us that search warrants had been granted to go into 6.5 Myrtle at that point, correct?
Yes.
And was there also a search warrant for the Ford Focus?
Yes. I'm not sure exactly what time the search warrant was signed, but
And you were able to retrieve the keys for the Ford Focus?
yes,
Okay, from inside the residence is 6.5.
correct.
Okay, and what'd you do with the keys?
I transported the keys and followed the tow truck, which towed the vehicle to Troop I.
Okay, and was the vehicle processed at Troop I at that point?
Yes, it was.
Okay, had they completed the processing of the Sentra?
Yes.
Okay, and then now the Ford Focus had shown up and you had the keys so we could start the car and get in the locked vehicle, correct?
Yeah, they processed it the same as they would any other vehicle.
Great, and you observed that, correct?
Correct.
Okay, And then there appears to be a notation that you and Detective Brian Hart started to interview neighbors in the area of 6.5 Myrtle Avenue. Is that correct?
This is on the same date.
Yes, sir. It looks like it was on December 3rd at 6:26 p.m.
I have to see my report exactly to see who was interviewed, but
Okay.
it sounds about right. At that time, there was a lot going on, so we were breaking off in different directions constantly.
Okay. I respect that and I understand that, and I don't want to put words in your mouth. Just obviously, we had the Ford Focus issue up to Troop I. You didn't go home after that. You continued to assist in the investigation. Is that fair?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And do you recall when? I know it's 5 years ago. Do you recall whether or not you went ahead and assisted in regard to a canvas in the neighborhood at that point?
I have to see my report to see exactly what I did on that evening after I transported the evidence back.
If you don't recall, it's okay.
I don't recall off
Yeah,
the top of my head.
That's okay. All right. Now, let me talk to you about Thursday now on December 5th, okay? All right. I think you testified that you arrived up at the Community Crusade for Children, the Kiducation facility up in Hamden. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And did you go up there with any other brother or sister detectives?
Yeah, I don't remember off the top of my head who else was there, but most of us in the Detective Bureau responded there.
Okay. All right. So let me just ask you this. If you recall, what was your responsibility when you went up to Hamden to Kiducation?
Once we arrived there, the main priority was to make sure all the evidence that was coming off the trucks, possible evidence coming off the trucks, was secured. The facility was basically secured, the entire facility, until major crimes arrived on scene. They processed the facility for any evidence.
Right. And when we say we processed it, I'm just going to go a little quick here. That means that Connecticut State Police, major crime came, and they went through all the bins and all the bags, and they notated the evidence, and they cataloged the evidence. Is that correct?
Correct.
And you didn't have to do any of that?
We did. We all took part in some of the searching of different areas based on the large amount of clothing and shoes and other stuff they called trash that was there. So we did participate in some of that.
In the search, but you weren't cataloging evidence item 47, 48, 49, 50. That was Connecticut State Police that did that?
Correct.
Okay, great. And were you there all day?
A large portion of the day.
Okay. Do you recall, sir, taking custody of Jose Morales at some point and bringing him to the Ansonia Police Department to execute the body warrant?
I recall that incident, yes.
Okay, just tell us in your own words what happened in regard to the body warrant.
So on December 3rd, after Jose Morales was transported for the voluntary interview at the police department, he was transported back to 105 First Avenue. A search warrant was obtained for 105 First Avenue in New Haven.
Yes.
Upon execution of the search warrant, myself and another officer located electronic defense weapons, stun guns,
Yep.
Within Jose's bedroom pursuant to the search warrant.
Yep.
He was a convicted felon at the time when we looked it up. So I contacted my connection at New Haven Police Department.
I'm just asking about the body warrant. Did
Well,
you take him?
this all led up to the transport of the body warrant.
Let me withdraw the question. Wasn't there a body warrant, a search warrant executed by a judge of the Superior Court, Judge Pearson?
Yes, there was.
Okay, and you took Mr. Morales in custody and you went ahead and executed the body warrant. Is that correct?
He had to be transported to a place for the body warrant to be
Great, and that was the Ansonia Police Department.
correct. But he wasn't in custody for that purpose. At the time, he was in custody for the stun guns.
I understand, but you transported him for the execution of the body warrant. The lawful authority to go ahead and inspect his body. Is that correct?
Yes.
Were you there during that?
I did not stay for the body search warrant.
Okay, you just transported him up to Ansonia PD?
Correct, myself and Officer Castillo.
and Officer Castillo from New Haven up to Ansonia PD. And then you didn't stay around after that?
I don't know if I was still in the facility, but I wasn't present while the state police conducted that search warrant.
Okay. You don't know whether, or do you know whether the Ansonia PD or state police executed that warrant?
I don't know off the top of my head. I wasn't involved in it.
Okay. Let's see if we can move on. After the body warrant was executed, there were a number of search and seizure warrants that were authorized by a judge of the Superior Court to go into 6.5 Myrtle. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay. And did you participate in any of those searches?
I believe I was there for one of them.
Okay. Okay. And what was your responsibility for the one that you were there?
To search for the items that were listed on the search warrant. I believe at that time it was items related to the missing child investigation.
Okay. Sir, did there come a point where you started to review the surveillance videos, that some of which we saw in the montage?
Yes.
When was that?
I can't exactly recall when I first started, because every time I would get a chance and video would come in, I would start trying to view it, and then we'd get called to education or other topics. The first video I did watch was Officer Kelly's body-worn camera, and that would have been on the second, prior to heading over to the residence at 105 First.
Okay. Was it significant for you to go out and other brother and sister officers to see if you could obtain neighborhood surveillance video to see if there was any indication that the Nissan Sentra, the Ford Focus, was in the area 6.5 Myrtle?
In these types of investigations, large-scale investigations,
Yeah.
one of my top priorities is always to go out and not specifically look for any particular vehicles, but to save and secure any available surveillance video that may be out there so it doesn't get deleted or destroyed.
What did you do to secure any videos that it wouldn't be deleted or destroyed?
So when we find video,
No, what did you do?
what did I do?
Yeah.
I went to different locations, Derby Avenue, Auto Repairs Unlimited, Main Street Shell Station, for example, and those videos were copied to thumb drive to secure them.
Okay, so let's just take the Shell gas station, for example, okay? Did you go out there and obtain that video? We saw it in the montage that was admitted.
So Officer Castillo had first went to the Main Street Shell gas station to try to obtain the video, but the manager wasn't there. I went as a follow-up. I wasn't familiar with that system, and at that point I called Detective Sergeant Froelich at the time, who was at the command center.
Okay.
And members of the FBI responded to help download that video footage.
Okay. I'm just sort of asking you in general because we know, and we're going to play the montage again, not with you, you don't have to worry about that, but we're going to play the montage again. But there were certain locations where video was obtained, like on Derby Avenue, correct?
Correct.
Okay, Auto Body Unlimited, correct?
Correct.
Maria's Hair Design,
Yes.
correct? By the way, before I get too far, on Derby Avenue, were you able to recover any video of the Morales vehicle at St. Michael's at the donation boxes?
No, I tried.
Tried but unsuccessful?
Correct.
Okay. So, as the investigation continued, you wanted to go ahead and collect video to see if there was anything of evidentiary significance. Is that fair?
Correct.
And you did that, correct? Okay. Now, then did there come a point where you accompanied, I believe it was Detective Adcox, to the New Haven Correctional Facility to interview Mr. Morales?
Yes.
Objection, this is outside the scope.
It's part of the investigation.
Well, I mean, it is outside the scope. I'm gonna ask the jury to step out. counsel please stipulate to the return of our jurors?
Stay with stipulation.
All right, so the objection was, it was overruled in part, sustained in part. You will hear an answer to the question. Why don't you re-ask the question, Attorney Gavin?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Detective Tressler, last question for you, sir. Okay. Do you recall, as part of your investigative efforts, going to the New Haven Correctional Center on December 30th, 2019?
Yes.
Thank you. I have no other questions. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Attorney
Nothing
Jurison,
from-
nothing further. All right, very good. Sir, you may step out of the witness box. You're all set. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we are going to adjourn for the day. You will